Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, what's good, what's going on, what's good, what's going on, what's good, what's going on, what's good, what's crack-a-lacking, hope you are well. Welcome back to the Random Show with your host, AgostinhoZinga. Random Show, we're back in live effect. Wagwan, what's good, what's crack-a-lacking, apologies for the delay. Those of you who have been waiting in the stream chat patiently, apologies for the delay. But we're back and we're ready to go, So, how have you lovely people been? Let me know in the stream chat how you've been. How have you lovely people been today? Today's not been the best day for me because United got knocked out of the Champions League. So I spent the last 6+ hours on Twitter Spaces, watching random YouTube live streams of other United supporters crying and complaining about how we lost. So yeah, man, I'm not feeling too good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of happy we got knocked out of the Champions League. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not happy with how it happened. And most likely, there's not gonna be any change, right? Most major sports teams, most professional football clubs in the UK, or most professional football clubs that want to win things, when they lose and they get knocked out of prestigious competitions like the Champions League, it's usually a time for reflection. It's usually a time to to look at what you've done wrong and change things so that it doesn't happen again, right? It's usually a time to really analyze and do some root and stem analysis and really make the changes necessary to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But at Man United, because we're owned by the Glazer family, not going to happen. So we're going to have more years of hurt, more years of torment, and it kind of is what it is. So I'm not feeling good about it. I'm not happy about it. I'm kind of pissed off. I'm kind of upset. So because I'm pissed off and upset, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to laugh at people who are far more successful, far more richer than me at this current moment to make myself feel better. You know, that's what I'm going to do. Because I feel like shit, I'm going to laugh at others. I'm going to point and laugh at other people, and I'm going to make myself feel better that way, okay? So don't don't get on my back for it. Don't criticize me for it. I'm going to laugh at others' misfortune to make myself feel better, okay? And I hope you should do the same thing too. But yeah, big up the stream chat people. I appreciate all of you. Big up Uche, I see you there. Big up Koila. Big up Sarlux, Stinger Goo, I see ya. Stephen Castaneda, Wagwan, Homeless Cat, what's good? What's cracker lacking? Hasib, Anthony Nunez, I see you. Pre-ban for Loco, I see you. Matt Rizza, I see you. Talk about pre-ban for Loco. Oh, yo. I remember the first time I ever did MCAT. I'm not too sure what it's called now, but back when I used to take it, it was called like Meow Meow. And it was this drug that you used to take, right? That was so good. It was so cheap though. And essentially it was like, from what I remember people saying, it was kind of like the cheap version of doing coke or something. It was sort of like MD sort of effects. And you could get it for literally like, you could get like an 8-ball for like £20 or something. And they used to sell it in India, I think, or somewhere like that, right? I don't know where it was, but I think you could get it over the internet. You could basically buy this Meow Meow MCAT. I think it was called Methadone. I think it was Methadone. Back in the day, you could buy that shit over the internet. And somehow, right, on the ClearNet, like not even on dark web shit, on the ClearNet, you could order MCAT to your fucking house. And you could have an absolute blast for the weekend for only like £20. Bloody hell, man. But the only problem with it is that it smelled like cat piss. So you were sniffing this shit, and it legitimately smelled like cat urine. I swear to God, it was awful, but I had some good fun times on that shit back in the day. Really good fun times. But then, of course, it got banned. And when it got banned, the formula or the chemical breakdown of it changed and it all went crazy. Do you know what I mean? So that's the only sad thing about it. But that pre-ban stuff, man, nothing hits good. Nothing hits like pre-ban shit, Pre-ban shit. Nothing hits as good as pre-ban shit. Like that stuff was so good, man. So fucking good. Oh, but yeah, but also I think a lot of that stuff, it's like your first drink, innit? It's like having your first real good burger. I think a lot of that stuff is like, I don't know what the term is, but it's because you did it the first time, it's amazing. But I think if you did it again, it wouldn't be that great. Like you can never replicate the first time you had your first, sip of a cold beer. You can never replicate the first time you had a really good hot dog. right? A really good glizzy to the face. You can never copy that again. So I think it's just one of those things that you enjoy it in a moment. You think it's amazing, it's going to last forever, but usually it's a very fleeting, effect or feeling. And usually, you end up trying to chase the dragon, which is definitely not the right way to go. So happy I didn't end up in that way. But yeah, crazy times. Big up the stream chat, appreciate all of you guys. What's going on? Yeah, exactly. Homeless cat, shout out to MCat, homeless cat, shout out to MCat. Me, I can go on a hiatus, me, I can take some MCat. I smoke pre-ban cat. Big up Stinger Guru, appreciate you. Pre-ban for Loco. Cat piss smell is actually an in so far high quality New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Really? Okay, fair enough. There's wine out there called cat piss. That's fucking crazy. Is that still happening, by the way? You guys in the stream chat, could you let me know where you are in the world? Is the whole natural wine thing still going on? I remember in the UK for like a couple of years that everyone was fucking drinking natural wine. Like that shit tastes like it tastes like fucking carpet cleaner, bruv. So janky tasting, like, ugh. It was a race for a while. Everyone fucking drinking that natural wine shit. I absolutely hated it. It tastes like fucking shit. Honestly. Hate fucking natural wine. Get fucked. All that cloudy shit. It looks like somebody's fucking sweat poured into a fucking bottle. No thank you. No fucking thank you. But yeah, big up everybody. What are you saying? My weed smells like cat piss. Yeah, you know the vibes. Homeless cat. Yeah, I am. Actually, I'll get that scheduled after. I'll have a schedule up. I'll put like a scheduled stream up for that as well. I'm going to be doing the UFC, yeah. I'll do the live stream of the UFC because I'm not going anywhere anyway. So I'll be staying in that weekend. So I'll do the UFC. Oh, actually, am I? Am I meant to be going out? Oh, it's the 16th, innit? Fuck. What am I meant to be? Hold on. Let me just see it. I think, is that December 16th? I'm pretty sure. If that's the 16th, then I think I've got a rave I'm meant to be going to. But let's see. But that UFC card as well is really good, isn't it? That's the one with what's his face. That's the one with what you call it? My guy from the UK, from fucking Birmingham. He's the one that's fighting in that card, isn't it, on the Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Bear with me a second as I load it up on my screen. I know I'm taking long here, but I promise you this is going to be a good thing when it does eventually fucking show up and land. But yeah, so UFC 2's, that's a really good card, isn't it? 260. I should really stay in and watch this, really, shouldn't I? I shouldn't really go out. You know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to go out. Fuck it. I'm going to stream this. Yeah, fuck it. Fuck the rave. I'm going to stream this. Yeah, I'll be here. I'll stream this. This is a fucking good card. Colby Covington and Leon Edwards. So who's on the prelims? Let's see the prelims. Randy Brown versus Muslim. Who's that? Muslim Salikov. You got Salim Gavzi versus Martin Boudet. Andre Philly, who I've always liked, versus Lucas Almeida. You got Oberva versus Durden. Minefield. Oh, Alonzo Minefield is fighting too versus just. That's going to be a banger. Casey O'Neill versus Lipsky. Cody. No, okay, fuck that. Big up Homeless Cat. I appreciate you. I'm staying in. 16th, we're going. We're doing this. 16th on the Saturday. We're fucking doing it. I'm here. I'm fucking here. Cody Garbrandt versus Brian Keller. Aldana versus Carol Rosa. Josh Emnett versus Bryce. Oh, come on. This is a fucking. I can't go out with this. I can't rave when this card is on. Vicente Luque, Ian Gary, Tony Ferguson, Paddy. Am I the only person? By the way, guys, for the guys in there who because I'm not, I'm a bit of a UFC casual. But am I the only person that thinks Paddy Pimblett is going to beat the fucking brakes off of Tony Ferguson? Why is everybody thinking it's going to be close because Tony's doing like 10Ks and running the hills and shit? Why does everyone think because he's running with fucking David Goggins that he's going to be he's going to turn up suddenly and wind back the clock of time? Paddy's going to absolutely beat the brakes off him, no? Or am I like overestimating this? Paddy's younger. He's on a better streak. He's gonna absolutely smash his fucking face in. What do you guys think? You saying Paddy's gonna get beat, Jordan Ray? Okay. No, Paddy is what, says Ryan. Okay. People just hope Tony wins, but we all know he's past his prime. Yeah, exactly. Stinger. That's what I'm thinking. Like, even though Paddy's not a world beater, I think Paddy will definitely handle Tony Ferguson. He's too young. He's way too fast. He doesn't hit as hard. you know, maybe needed to kind of turn Tony Ferguson's light off, but I think he's going to be too much for him. Okay. And then we got, oh wow, you got Shafkat versus Stephen. Oh my god, I didn't know this card was that stacked, bruv. Alexander Pantoja versus Brandon Royville. Oh my god. Okay, I'm staying in. It's decided I'm staying in because I was meant to be going to a rave, wasn't I, on this Saturday? I think it was the one on the fucking 16th. I forgot which one it was. I think it might have been the Skepta thing, actually. I think I was meant to go to the Skepta thing. The Mass Tiempo event happening in Drum Shields. But I'm going to actually swap that for UFC. Fuck that rave. I think that was what I was meant to go to. Let me just double check here the date. But I think I was meant to be going to Mass Tiempo. But fuck that. We're staying in and watching the fucking UFC. That's a fucking banger of a card, isn't it? Jesus Christ, bro. I'm actually excited to see. I want to see Bryce Mitchell fight as well. I'm a big fan of Bryce. I like his fighting style and him as a person. He seems like a cool dude. I'm hoping that he wins as well. But it's going to be a tough fight versus Josh Emmett. He's no slouch. Still, I can't wait to illegally stream it. Lols. Really? Koila, Tony Ferguson showed up at my house party in 2011. It's been downhill since. Lols. Uche, I think you'll need an Advil. You guys are so dumb. Yeah, see, Skepta's performing, so I'm gonna swap the UFC for fucking. I'm gonna swap Skepta for the UFC. No Skepta for me. So Skepta. Who else is performing? MC Fats. We've got Tribes. We've got Hector Oates with Patrick Mason, Carmen Electro, Budokai. Actually, in a stream chat, let me know, when's the last time you motherfuckers have been to raves? Because I feel like I'm the only person that speaks about this shit. Like, I talk about this stuff on my streams, but I feel like I'm talking to myself. Do any of you guys actually go to raves? Do you guys like rave, like techno raves, party, EDM stuff? Or am I the only person that goes to these things? Am I there on my own, just like sweating my face off from pills and shit? Does anybody actually go to raves here? It's been years, B, Uche. It's been years. Went out last night, Don Dotter. Saw Honey Dijon. Oh, yes, Don Dotter. Honey fucking Dijon. I saw her perform at fucking Panorama Bar a few years ago. Fantastic. No, I've never been to one. Stephen Castaneda. That will stress me out, says Young Old Vibes. Nope. It's so odd, isn't it? It's like, I think everybody's raving, but it's actually a very niche thing, isn't it? Most people don't really rave, don't care about partying at all in that way. It's interesting because I feel like the whole world is raving, but in actuality, it's a very, very small subsect of people like myself, you know? Absolute crazy folks. What's your opinion on 338? On Club 338, PG, it's terrible. But not their fault, really. Mostly to do with the programming and the crowd. And it's a bit too far from me as well to go and travel and shit. But I don't really like it as a venue. I think it's fucking shit. I think it's like a fabric type of a venue. Depends on the raves. It could be good. But for the most part, I would never trust them with my money. No way am I trusting them with my fucking money. But anyway, let's move on from that one. Don't waste your time talking about things that you guys don't care about. But we're going to be streaming UFC 2. Was it? 236, is it? UFC 296, sorry. I'll be streaming that on Saturday. I'll put up a scheduled live stream for you guys to see on my channel after I finish the stream. I'm actually going to note it down here. Let me actually write it on my notepad so I don't remember. Schedule UFC 296 live stream. Yep, cool. So I'll have that on there. So if you're around on Saturday, hang out with the boy. I'll probably get a couple of beers in and shit. We'll get loose. We'll start screaming at the fucking screen. I'm gonna start cheering for all the black guys on a card like I usually do, right? I'll cheer for all the black guys in the crowd. Whoever's black and fights, I'll cheer for them. Whoever's got a little bit of melanin in their skin, I'll cheer for them also. And then we'll go from there. You get me? Only prediction I'm going to give for you now, if you want me to ask fight predictions, what do I think here? I think Colby beats Leon Edwards. I think Pantoja beats Royval. I think Shatkav beats Stephen Thompson. I think Paddy Pimblett knocks out Tony Ferguson. I think Vicente Luque beats Ian Gary. I think Bryce Mitchell beats Josh Emmett. I think Shafkat beats Stephen Thompson. I think Paddy Pimblett knocks out Tony Ferguson. I think Vicente Luque beats Ian Gary. I think Bryce Mitchell beats Josh Emmett. I think Shafkat beats Stephen Thompson. I think Paddy Pimblett knocks out Tony Ferguson. I think Vicente Luque beats Ian Gary. I think Bryce Mitchell beats Josh Emmett. I don't know these fighters, to be fair, the women, so I'm just gonna go for Irina Aldana. She looks kind of hot, so I'll go for her. I'm gonna say Cody Garbrandt. He always like flats to deceive, so I'm gonna say Cody's gonna do what he usually does, and he's gonna end up losing a fight that he should win. So I'm gonna say Brian Keller is gonna probably beat Cody Garbrandt. Ariana Lipski, she's so hot. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go for Casey O'Neill. Fuck it. She hasn't got a good record, but I'll go with Casey O'Neill. I'm gonna say Casey O'Neill beats Ariana Lipski. I'm gonna say, obviously, I'm gonna go for Alonzo Minefield. I'm gonna go for Olubevkov on this fight. I'm gonna go for Andre Philly here, and I'm gonna go for Bude here, and I'm gonna go for Randy Brown. So those are my fight picks. So let's see Wagwan. Yeah, I'm gonna rewind it less when I finish it. I'm gonna make a note of it and see what my fight picks were like. So that's my fight picks for UFC 296. Can't wait when it starts. Anyway, moving on. I fucking love Kanye. And I honestly think if you have more money than God and you are one of the greatest living artists of your generation, this is what you should be doing. This is what you should be doing when you have fuck your money, when you've created some of the greatest albums known to man. This is what you should be doing. You should be announcing the launch of your new album, Vultures, with Ty Dolla $ign at a very special pop-up event in my Art Basel, Miami, wearing a black Ku Klux Klan hood. That's what you should be doing, okay? And I love that for Kanye. I fucking love that. I love that this is what he's doing to fucking market and promote his fucking album. I fucking love it, especially with his little daughter by the side of him, encouraging him on. He's standing there in a fucking black Ku Klux Klan mask, hat, hood thing. I love it. I fucking love it. I swear to God, I fucking love it. It's so unhinged. Like I said, I say it plenty of times on my stream. I fucking loved unhinged psychos. And Kanye is probably, you know, he's Olympic level. He's like gold medal Olympic level psycho. And I love how unhinged and how, you know, redacted he is. It's so bloody good to see this in real time. Somebody of his level of fame really letting his nuts hang. I fucking love it. I absolutely love it. I don't care what anyone says. I even love these pics as well with Playboy Carti. Do you see these pictures? Him hanging out at Playboy Carti. Even Playboy Carti is giving him the side eye. Look, Playboy Carti is like, bro, this nigga's wilding. Look at Playboy Carti. He's like, this nigga is fucking wilding. He's like, what the fuck is going on here? Absolutely fucking love it. Then we got more screenshots here of Kanye in there. I fucking love it. Kanye is the best. He honestly is the best. Kanye is legitimately the best. It's impossible not to like this guy. This is what artistic freedom looks like. This is what doing what you want actually looks like. I fucking love it. Big up Kanye. Big up everything about him. He's the fucking best. He's the fucking best. Moving on. We got this clip courtesy of Kodak Black talking about his recent arrest. Kodak Black was recently arrested, and the story that came out was that he was arrested with cocaine possession, and allegedly he tried to swallow some of the drugs he had on him, other drugs and not in just cocaine, and so he could not, you know, so the police couldn't find it. He eventually obviously made bail, but now he was on live stream trying to clear up what he was actually arrested for. And his clarification is very interesting because it's a very odd way to like clarify and justify what happened, because I feel like at some point you have to realize that all drugs are bad, right? This is coming from somebody that parties like myself, but all drugs are bad. So having a hierarchy of what's bad and what's, you know, what's bad and what's not so bad is odd. But it's even more so odd when you hear the exact choice that he kind of, you know, stipulates on. Let's hear Kodak Black explain why he got arrested and clear up the rumors around what drugs he had on him.
I was on the lean, homie. I was on the lean. I was asleep in front of my family house, bro. That's it. I was on that drink, sleep in front of my people's house. But it ain't, and that ain't illegal. And that ain't illegal. I mean, so all that shit is just a process. The process that it had to be in other mud shot. The process that even though like it bogus as fuck, they plastered all over the internet. Then on top of that, it's like, bro, like I'm Haitian, homie. And then it's just like my era and shit, bro. Like, hell no, like, man, you better off saying that, okay, you drink lean, you smoke weed, or did Molly, or whatever type shit. Even though that ain't cool in itself. None of this shit cool, homie, but to be talking about cocaine? Come on, fam. Hell, fuck no, bro.
So in case you haven't realized what he said he wasn't actually caught with cocaine. He said he was caught with lean. He said he was nodding out in front of his parents' house or somebody's house, and he got caught having lean on him. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't know about you guys, but wouldn't you think lean is just as bad as coke? Wouldn't you think liquid heroin that causes you issues when it comes to fucking, you know, stomach issues and whatnot? Who's this guy? Who's the guy with fucking Chief Keef? I forgot his name. Fredo Santana. Fredo Santana died because of his excessive, you know, drinking of lean, right? One of the byproducts of his fucking whatever thing that happened to him was because obviously the lean he drank. So for him to say that somehow the lean that he got, you know, caught with, that got him in a state where he was nodding off to the point where the police had to arrest him, was a far better thing than coke is strange, isn't it? And I would really like to know, what is it about? And I think it happens in the UK too. We have the same issue in the UK when it comes to like crack and shit, right? Why do black people in general have such a weird taboo around coke, but then they're perfectly okay with drinking a lot, smoking a lot of weed, doing a lot of pills like Molly and whatever it may be, doing stuff like lean? And in the UK, we have an epidemic or a pandemic with what's happening with fucking balloons, whippets, right? What you guys called whippets and shit. To the point where the government had to fucking make balloons and helium gas and all that shit fucking illegal. So now I think it's if I'm not mistaken, helium is a category B drug now. So you could basically get arrested for it. Before it was something you couldn't get arrested for, but now it's a category B. It's a class B drug, sorry. Heliums and whippets. People are literally becoming paralyzed because they're doing too many balloons. You know? They're getting paralyzed. People are getting fucking helium, whatever canisters. They're putting them into fucking balloons, sucking them in and out. One day, when I was coming back from, exactly, nitrous, yeah. When I was coming back from the shops to do my little weekly shop, I saw a group of kids coming out of a car, right? And these kids, I swear to God, they were probably under the age of 25. They were all coming out of a car. And he was dropping off his friend at the station near me. And they all had balloons in their hands, including the driver. So these kids are driving while high on fucking nitrous. Imagine. And it's a standard thing. So they're drinking, they're smoking, they're doing dabs, they're doing fucking, you know, tabs of acid, whatever they're doing. And they're also doing nitrous oxide. But coke is too much. Crack is too much. It's like, bro, all of this stuff is bad. All drugs are fucking bad. You should, you know, not do any of them, really. If you actually want to have a clear mind, if you actually want to make sure that you stay alive, to look after your family, look after yourself, you should not do any drugs. So to have some sort of hierarchy, like as if like weed and pills and lean is better than coke, is so redacted.
Hell no. And I ain't finna say I'm against who do coke. I'm just saying, man. I say they trying to put you on powder because you powerful, man. I ain't doing that shit. I tell God himself I do perks. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. But them was my medicine prescribed to me. I will honestly say that.
So he does perks, medicine prescribed to him. He also has admitted, because I'm a big fan of Kodak, he's admitted he does a lot of Molly. And if you know anybody that does Molly, nobody does MDMA, one thing you could say is that Kodak Black definitely looks like somebody that does a lot of MDMA and Molly, right? His jaw is always swinging. He's very twitchy. It's usually a common, you know, thing that you see somebody that does a lot of Molly. He might probably do a lot of Xanax as well, I'd probably imagine, right? So all those things are perfectly fine. But when somebody puts coke on his name, suddenly he gets offended. It's so bizarre, isn't it? It's so fucking interesting.
Like, like, even before I had got shot and I had got prescribed to him again and shit like that, I could say like I had started like, you know, damn abusing too, and I'm working on myself. I'm working right now. I paid $350,000 and shit to like to get clean and get better. You feel me?
Okay, big up Assad. Appreciate you, brother. Assad says, Yak is a Florida boy. Prescription drugs are everywhere in Florida. What he's saying, he doesn't do coke because it's not a pharmaceutical drug. It's not illegal. That's hilarious. That's actually really, that makes a lot of sense. I see what you mean. I get what he's saying also. He doesn't do he's doing stuff that's prescribed to him because he has issues and shit. I get it, but again, it's just more so I just wanted to highlight this because I see this a lot, even in the UK, especially within the Caribbean community. They are super against any kind of drug outside of weed, but then they smoke a ton of it and they also drink a lot. And some of them usually beat up their wives. So it's like, you know, you're okay with fucking domestic violence. You're okay with loads of weed. You're okay with alcoholism, but the coke and crack, you draw a line underneath that. Okay.
Oh, no, like, and my people know that I never been the type of nigga to run from issues that I know I'm have to face. I look that shit head on and catch a hold onto it, shit like that. And there been times like I done went to rehab by myself, like without court appointment, without the court having to tell me to do that. Just me wanting better for myself, me knowing like, bitch, I got children, homie, and it's like I have to be here for them. I have to.
But it's also must be unfortunate because I'm sure Kodak has a very naturally sketchy, twitchy disposition anyway, right? But you can't help but thinking whenever you look at Kodak speaking, it's just, you know, it's the, like, you're seeing what the everyday effects are of doing a lot of drugs, right? Because imagine he's in his mid-20s, he's a millionaire, multi-millionaire, he's one of the greatest artists of his generation. He's got access to everything that he needs. It's quite near on impossible to not do the amount of drugs that he does, really. Especially when you consider where he lives as well, where he's from, in Florida, right? You'd imagine the stuff they get there is pretty pure, right? It's probably some good shit they get there. You're doing that stuff in the sun, surrounded by fake titties and fake bums, right? Good music. It's hard not to turn that down. I get it.
To be there for them, yeah, and I never had enough time on the streets to even be no junkie. Like, I go to rehab, I go to jail, no detox. I don't even fucking detox. I don't go through withdrawals and none of that shit. I ain't no baby. I ain't no junkie out here.
Kodak saying he's not a junkie is hilarious, especially him getting angry at the thought of people thinking he's a junkie. His whole image is that he's a junkie. I don't know. I kind of like Kodak for that. He has that kind of, you know, thug junkie image thing going on. It's not a bad thing. He will still, I think, at a moment's notice, knock your head off your shoulders. You know what I mean? If he has a glizzy on him, if he has the fucking, you know, the pow on him, he'll definitely knock your head off your shoulders. So it's not like he's not a dangerous guy, but he definitely gives me, you know, gangster junkie type of vibes. You know what I mean? Gangster J, you know? GJ.
I ain't no junkie. Stop playing with me, homie. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm intelligent, homie.
Anyway, Kodak is not happy with people putting coke on his name. He says he only does lean. He only does Molly. He's prescribed Percocets. If it's not prescription drug, he doesn't do them. But it seems like he also pours Percocets into his Nesquiks. That's what it seems like. It seems like when he's pouring out his cereal in the morning, before he puts in the milk, he pours in some Percs, puts the milk in, and then has a bit of a ride. Do you know what I mean? Has a bit of a fun time. Just, you know, taking a wild ride, never knowing what spoonful is going to contain all the Percs or is going to contain all the cereal. He seems like that kind of guy. But again, what do I know? You know? What do I know? What the fuck do I fucking know? But yeah, exactly. Florida's got that pure. Exactly. Sarlax knows. Florida's got that fucking pure, that good. Let's continue. And then obviously moving on to Tom Segura. Tom Segura's got a lot of money and he's now racing horses. If there was a way to show that you're not relatable and you really have decided, hey, you know, fuck the fans, fuck trying to be relatable, fuck trying to appear down to earth, this is the greatest example of it. I bought a horse and it won. Tom is out here buying horses now. Cars weren't enough. Personal trainers that also suck your dick while on tour isn't enough. Hiring really big boobed white women to sit in front of you so you can cheat on them behind your wife's back isn't enough. Let's buy a fucking horse. Let's buy a fucking horse. This is probably the whitest thing I've seen Tom ever do. Legit. And it's funny too because the Tom of old would have definitely made fun of him, right? would have definitely made fun of this guy buying a horse, right? If he saw it on Instagram. If Tom saw himself buying this on Instagram, he would have definitely made fun of himself. So that's the really funny bit about it. But Tom's really the best example you could see of money definitely changing you. Like, he's definitely changed with money. Money definitely changed Tom for the worse, unfortunately. Because he's, you know, it's one thing doing this stuff, but it's also another thing not being self-aware enough to take the piss out of yourself and to be funny, you know? But hey, rich white guy shit, or just rich people shit, not white guy shit. I'm sure this is like the final frontier, because it must come a point where if you have a lot of money, what else can you buy? If you have cars, if you have homes, you have all the clothes that you want, there isn't much else to buy, really. You know, that's probably why a lot of people get into golf and shit, because that just turns into its own little hobby and you can kind of geek out on that. But this is probably the next step, you know, outside of opening your own comedy club, right? Maybe you just buy a horse. Like, fuck it, let's get into horse. Let's get into horses. Let's get into horses. I can't wait until he makes this into a bit on his stand-up special. Imagine. There are comedy fans out there that get annoyed when comedians talk about private jets and about flying first class, business class. Imagine having to watch a stand-up special of Tom Segura's and hearing him talk about his horse. The stress of like having a horse and how to look after it and races and all. Imagine. Imagine that being a thing. Imagine that's what we have to listen to. Just imagine. Just fucking imagine. That's the thing. What are you guys saying here in the chat? Tom is literally the furthest thing from a comedy who doesn't call this shit out. Exactly. Tired of Tom serious 24/7. Tom's dad did die recently. I think he's going through something mentally. No, I don't think that's true. I just think he's just enjoying himself, you know, being an older rich dude now. He got fame late in life. You know, maybe he thought he was deserving this for a long time. He's finally doing the stuff that he always wanted to do. But I also think part of it is like the money's definitely changing him, because he's, you know, let's be real. This guy's made a lot of money. He goes on tour a lot. The podcast does really fucking well. Tons of sponsors coming out of the wazoo. Booked to do other comedy gigs. Loads of Netflix specials. Like, he makes a lot of money. So after a certain point, especially him, the age that he's at now, his family's already set anyway because his dad made a lot of money too. So it's not like they have to kind of leech off of him. He just, you know, this is all he has to do. What else is there left to do, really? You know, buy horses, live your life, enjoy, and have some fun. I get it. Anyway, Tom's doing that. We don't give a fuck. Moving on to Matt Rife. Matt Rife had some beef. This is courtesy of TMZ. Amid ongoing backlash for his Netflix special, Matt Rife is now catching heat for his appalling alleged comment to a 6-year-old. I love this arc, man. Matt Rife needs to stop hanging out with Tom Segura. Just like, imagine not being happy that you have female fans. Imagine that being a thing. Imagine ugly comedians convincing you, ugly, washed up, dry, unfunny comedians convincing you that the way that you built your entire career on your own, right, with your own team, was the wrong thing to do. Imagine. Because that's what's happened, I feel like. Matt has allowed these other comedians to get in his ear and tell him, hey, you need to have a bit more of a real comedy fan base and stuff. So now he's turning on these fans and stuff. It's like, bro, like, there's nothing wrong with having a majority female fucking fan base. What's the bad thing about that? I really don't understand why he wants like sweaty men to be his fans instead. It's such a bizarre pivot, and the way he's doing it as well is so weird. And again, I'm not even the biggest fan of his comedy. I just don't understand why he's throwing away all that hard work to cultivate that fan base, even if it is, you know, fucking MILFs and stuff. Who gives a fuck? He's now throwing that all away because he wants a real comedy fan base, which is men that wear like trucker hats and flannels and shit. Like, come on, bro. Like, really? Anyway, Matt Rife has embroiled himself in a controversy, this time alleged comment of a 6-year-old. As you've probably seen, Matt Rife's been under some fire since release of a Netflix special called Natural Selection. The comedian, whose fan base had largely been compromised of women, infamously opened the show with the domestic violence jokes. He also mocked women for certain interests such as astrology and crystals. Fucking hell, he's got a tiny waist, isn't it? Jesus Christ, bro. Jesus. He's got like what? Is it like a 28 waist? Fucking hell. That is a tiny fucking waist, isn't it? Jesus. I could probably fit one of my jeans legs in the entirety of his fucking waist. One of my thighs could probably fit into the whole thing, you know? Holy shit. I probably couldn't get my arms through this. Like, Yo, Matt Rife is a slim, sexy boy, huh? Slim, sexy boy. Look at him. Slim, sexy. Let's continue. Regarding astrology, Matt said, I'm so tired of you ladies blaming your poor decision making on skills on the planets that don't even know you. Get this through your head. Astrology is not this magical life guiding oh, Jesus Christ. Read carefully, Agostino, you fucking redact. It says, I'm so tired of you ladies blaming your poor decision making skills on planets that don't even know you. Get this through your head. Astrology is not this magical guideline that predetermines your future in the stars. Your future is determined by your own thoughts, opinions, and actions. You are in complete control of how your future turns out. This sounds very Tom Segura-ish and also very hacky, isn't it? Like, this is the kind of stuff, like, maybe you won't get this reference. I think you will do. Have you ever been at a house party where there's a guy who tries to like hold court, and especially there's women around, and he brings up these type of topics to get women talking and to spark conversation, maybe to spark controversy, whatever, and you'll kind of bring up these things. Oh, women in astrology, right? Women should be in the kitchen, right? I would never take a woman's last name. I would never pay for the first date. They bring up all these topics during the house party to get women talking and stuff. It's really hacky, really lame. Like, you know that kind of guy? That sounds like these type of jokes. Like, I've heard this guy say these type of jokes, but it's like, shut up, man. Have a drink, have a line, and shut the fuck up, bro. Don't turn this into a fucking Maury. It continues. It has nothing to do with the stars, man. Just cause Jupiter has a ring and you don't, doesn't mean what you've supposed to look up into this magical. Fuck off. Matt Rife, terrible. Continues. As the clip of the astrology bit started going viral, people apparently started tagging a popular TikToker named Bunny Haydaya, knowing she has a 6-year-old son who in her own words is very into space. So that's Bunny. Bunny has a 6-year-old son. Cool. Bunny explained on TikTok that after receiving so many tags, she decided to respond by stitching a clip with her son's reaction. In the video, which is shared on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, cool. I think this is the video I have here. This is Bunny talking about it, right? Let's hear Bunny. Let's hear Bunny talk about Matt Rife. Let's see Wagwan here. Let's see. What does it say here?
Matt Rife has decided to start beef with my 6-year-old child online. Yeah, you heard me correctly. My 6-year-old child online. So, my name is Bunny Hedaya, if you don't know
What kind of name is Bunny Hedaya?
me. Hedaya means gift, and this is my gift to you.
Your voice is not a gift, I'll tell you that, bro.
Reading Matt Rife to filth. Like Matt, I have a full female audience online. Although, I like mine. I don't want the men. You can keep them. Please. I will gladly take your audience because we know you can't satisfy them anyways.
Boo.
This all started when his comedy special, which, if that's what we're calling comedy, the things he said that weren't even funny were posted on TikTok, and I started being tagged in them because everyone knows.
Honestly, if I had a gun, I would literally put it in my ear and blow my brains out. I would blow my brains through my other earlobe. Imagine hanging out with somebody that sounds like this. Imagine going to lunch and catching up with an old friend and they sound like this.
That my son is like a genius and he's really into space. I fiercely protect my child online. I'm not a family channel. People know his name, they know he likes space, they know he likes Minecraft, and that's pretty much it. Most people do not know any personal details about my child. And because of that, and because I have such a large audience, when I see people in person and when people see space clips, they tag me in them because they know that that's what he likes. This is the video that I posted.
Nothing to do with the stars, man. Just because Jupiter has a ring and you don't, doesn't mean.
Saturn has the rings, and it has more also, and you're mean to girls.
I am not the type of content.
Tell your 6-year-old son to go to fucking bed. Tell that little scrot to go up to his room before you chuck him out the nearest window. Tell him Santa doesn't exist and tell him to go to fucking sleep. Who the fuck is he? Why is he getting into grown man's business? Dickhead.
Content creator that usually talks about other people or other things for views. I focus my content only on me because guess what, Matt? I'm interesting enough on my own. But I also didn't pay for my looks, so that's not really what people.
Okay.
follow me for? You look to the video on here, you can see that all the comments were like, oh my god, he's so smart, he's so cute, like, oh my gosh, yeah, girl packed you. He's not tagged in it. I have no connection with him, and it was posted on a Netflix page. While you clearly took a lighthearted video and turned it into fighting with a 6-year-old, let's talk about the comments that you said about me. This is my IG where he left the comment, okay? Do I look like I don't even show my body? For you to assume that every single woman online makes money by showing their bodies, which, like, if that's what you do, girl, do you. Like, love it. I have never made a single dollar from a man. Audience is female, 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 female.
Hold on, what did he actually say? I can't even see it. What did he actually say? He said, Jupiter also has ring. Oh, and Santa Claus ain't real. Your mum buys your presents with her money she makes on OnlyFans. Good luck. Okay, fair enough. Matt Rife's reply back to her was a bit lame, right? It was a bit lame. Not gonna lie, it was a bit lame. Bit lame. Like, it's a bit lame. If you're gonna come for the mum, or if you're gonna come on the mum, just come on the mum. You don't need to come on the kid to come on the mum. You know what I mean? You get me? You get it?
Yeah. And a little bit of the gays and nays. You can't accept the fact that people may like women for their personalities. No, we know you don't have one. You stick to circle jerking, the men that you need validation from, and I will gladly take your female audience that you so desperately want to get. You know it hurts because I'm richer than you, and I didn't have to pay for a Forbes article to fake it.
Oh, okay. I'm bored. I don't give a fuck, man. They could all get chucked on the nearest train tracks and run over many times. The mum, the 6-year-old kid, Matt Rife, they can all get thrown into the nearest volcano, right? Then whilst their dying embers of their bodies are still fucking piping hot, they can then get run over by a fucking lawnmower, and then all of those dust and bits and bobs could get sprinkled with a fucking hose so they disappear. All of these people are fucking losers. They're all fucking losers. We don't care. We don't care about all of them. Everybody needs to get drop kicked in the head, including the 6-year-old. I'd fucking, fucking stone cold stun at that 6-year-old. And when he got upside crying, bogey running down his face, reaching out for his mummy, I'd kick him in the fucking back, right? Breaking his spine in 4 places, like fucking Omni-Man did to fucking Invincible. Or like happened to Omni-Man. Do you know what I mean? That's what needs to fucking happen.
What else you got, Chen?
Big up KP. Appreciate you. Fuck that kid, man. Fuck that kid. Fuck the mum. Fuck all of them. We don't care. We don't care, alright? We don't fucking care. Jesus Christ, bro. Honestly. Imagine that being your actual mum. Imagine. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about... Sorry, let's do the map. 2 days to try check-in. 2 days to try has a video. What's the latest one he's done that I haven't seen yet? I've seen most of them, haven't I? So he's got the whole Kokomo I don't give a shit about. There's one about Andrew Schultz having a fake laugh. I don't care about that either, to be fair. Okay, cool. Skip the 2 days to try. Let's do Podcast Cringe. What has he got on here that I want to check out? Oh, Podcast Cringe has got a video about Schultz versus Maniscalco. Let's check that actually, because I'm a big fan. I'm a big Sebastian Maniscalco fan, as most of you know. He's one of my favorite stand-ups. So let's see what Podcast Cringe says about Sebastian and Andrew Schultz. Oh, come on, you're gonna load? There you go. Cool. Let's do that. And if you're enjoying the stream, make sure you're liking it as well. If you're enjoying the stream, make sure you're liking it. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Thank you for joining me. Come on, hurry up. Let's load. Are you going to load, please? Come on. Are you going to load for me? Tater tots.
De Niro and Scorsese's coming out of nowhere. Like, I don't even know where this guy is at on set, and it's nerve-wracking. It's I had a lot of anxiety
also,
doing
like,
that.
I wonder if it's only in us where we can feel like the top of the world in our industry, and that it means nothing.
Hey, Cooper Medium, compare me to another white man is kind of racist. So I need you to check yourself, check your privilege, all right? And come back into this chat with a black square before you're allowed back in, okay? Please check your privilege at the front door. Thank you.
Nothing the second we're in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they kind of treat you as if it means nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Like, did the grips and stuff, the people who work on the movie, they know you and you're like the biggest star, right?
See, I never even think anybody knows me. I swear to God.
It's just, but I get what he's saying. Yeah, go.
Yeah, I mean, like, every time I put tickets on sale, I ask myself, is anybody coming? So,
Pause.
You see, like Shane Gillis, Maniscalco knows that his #1 job is to entertain his audience. Turning up just isn't good enough. You've got to bring the laughs. And that's where that stress and anxiety seems to come from. These other Muppets don't care about that. They just want to get paid every time they turn the mic on and think that it's our privilege.
Schulz thinks he's fucking Fred Astaire, innit? These motherfuckers, he thinks he's fucking Fred Astaire. These motherfuckers, innit? He thinks he's a fucking star. Oh, you gotta love Schulz. You gotta fucking love him. If he was fat, he would obviously look like Mr. Potato, but he's not, he doesn't have the puffy cheeks.
Privilege to listen to them speak about anything. And you could see right there something that I've come to find is a common theme with great entertainers. It's that imposter syndrome that creeps in and never leaves them. I find that so interesting because they come off as so confident and relaxed, especially Maniscalco with that swagger and charisma that he brings to his stand-up and even in these interviews. But I think that's what makes these kind of guys so relatable and down to earth. He knows who he is and where he stands, and he's not trying to pretend he's something else.
Exactly.
I'll give you an example. I did this voiceover in Super Mario Brothers. I was Spike. I have 2 kids, 6 and 4. So we're at Universal Studios. There is a Super Mario store. So I said, kids, come on in. Let's go see Daddy's character. They got every character on the wall but mine, Spike.
Yeah.
So that's kind of sums up my career.
Yeah.
I'm people. I have fans, but I'm not like widely known.
It's funny you think that. That's so funny you think that.
Like the Hollywood Matrix thinks it's like this weird like sideshow. And we walk in and we're like, wait a minute, no. This is the coolest thing and we're the best at it. And they're like, that's great. Here's your lines, here's your set, there's your trailer, you're sharing it with 3 other guys, there's 1 bathroom.
Yeah.
And you're like, I travel on a bus everywhere I go. Like, we don't give a Yeah,
it doesn't translate over to, like you're saying, TV and film. But that's just expect.
That's an interesting take from Andrew Schulz. So Andrew Schulz is basically annoyed that people in Hollywood don't suck his dick as much as people in stand-up comedy. It's a wild thing to admit, but you know what? I'm gonna be having an unpopular opinion here. I actually don't mind how unapologetically fame hungry or how much of a fame whore Andrew Schulz is. Same goes for Bert Kreischer. It's annoying to watch. Don't get me wrong. I'm not watching his podcast. It's, his comedy isn't for me, and he is a bit of an annoying personality. But I do appreciate how unapologetically fame hungry he is. Like, he wants to be a big star. He wants to be a big deal. He loves the fact that his shows sell out and he can make those videos, skits and stuff. Like, he fucking loves it. He loves himself, right? More than anything, probably. So I don't really mind how unapologetically self-absorbed he is. He doesn't pretend to be humble or have humility. I don't really mind that too tough. But it is interesting to see somebody, like Sebastian Maniscalco, who is far more accomplished than him, who's probably achieved more than him, who is 10 times funnier than him, be incredibly humble, incredibly chill, right? Somebody that you'd probably want to bump. If you bumped into Sebastian, you'd probably like to bump into him. You probably like to let him know, hey, I'm a big fan of your special. I love what you're doing. Keep going. Do you know what I mean? You'd actually be chuffed if you bumped into him. Whereas Andrew Schulz, he might big time you. He might give you the cold shoulder. He might say nobody knows who you are. It's interesting the fucking contrast.
You know, it's interesting how when comedians get big enough, they seem to all want to head over to Hollywood and do movies or TV shows. And I think it's mainly from guys who don't have big podcasts or social media followings. Maniscalco actually mentioned this on this episode of Flagrant, that he likes to do those kinds of gigs for the exposure that it brings, and then he can capitalize on that with his stand-up tours, which is where he's obviously most comfortable. So that was just some interesting background on Maniscalco and how he sees himself in the industry. I felt like I should at least give you guys a bit of info on him, even though I know a lot of you know who he is. He's obviously super famous now, but I've never spoken about him on my channel before. So then let's get into some cringy bits now, because
honestly, he's my favorite. Whenever I need to laugh, I'll rewatch all of his specials. There's loads of clips of his on fucking YouTube. Sebastian's one of my favorite fucking stand-ups. I know some of his stuff is hacky. I know some of his stuff is a little bit dated. I get it. But honestly, he's so fucking funny. Just his mannerisms, just his, you know, he's actually, you know, got that physical comedy thing down pat. The way he moves his shoulders, walks around. Like, he's brilliant. I fucking love Sebastian. I don't give a fuck. I'm an unashamed Sebastian stan.
For some reason, when Andy and the Toy Story boys sense that one of their guests has a backbone and lives a principled existence, they go all weird and quiet and they don't know what to say. It's like they fish for little gotcha moments to make themselves feel better about their own soulless existence. Mind you, Sebastian's only 10 years older than Andrew.
Do you get road rage at all when you're driving?
No, at this age, I actually relish the time in traffic.
Why?
Generally, when I'm driving and I'm going to get in traffic, I'm alone. And those times, if I have an audio book or a podcast on, I actually welcome it. Yeah, there's no real road rage. And when I have kids, to me, it's more time in the car with them. So I like it.
Yes, you like the family. You like
family.
They can't understand how somebody loves their wife, loves their family. They don't get it. They want to be finger banging fucking waitresses at the local haha. They don't understand. They don't understand not recording a podcast while you're driving, being on a Skype call with your agent at CAA. They don't get it. He lives a fairly ordinary, mundane family guy life outside of stand-up, and they just can't get their head wrapped around it. I fucking love it.
Very traditional, very family.
Okay, we're not into the family yet.
See how the conversation goes dead when one of their guests says something completely normal and well thought out? If you recall, they did the exact same thing with Shane Gillis when he was on, where they were all sitting around dumbfounded as to why Gillis wasn't a diva like Schulz is.
What is your one bougie thing? What is your one thing that it's like?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like, I wouldn't want people to know. I'm a little bit
I don't
embarrassed.
care if they know.
Shane looking at them like, bougie. What does that even mean?
I first class flights.
Have to do first class so you can read your Steinbeck. I was really impressed with that.
Shut up.
Okay, but what's the other bougie expense? Is it like, okay, obviously the comfort of first class. Is there anything you're like, ugh, I didn't know that I was this guy, and then you experience it and you're like,
big up Jared Mellerick, Wagwan, bang your doors.
now I kind of have to be this guy.
No.
Really?
No.
Hotels, you don't care? You don't have to stay at a nice hotel?
Hotels.
Okay, so we're going to find a lot of
a
things.
little. But no, it was like, I thought I was like, I don't care where I stay. And then I got in the worst hotel possible.
And it's like, no.
I like called my manager and I was like, all right, can we, what the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking like the worst hotel possible.
Yeah.
Like motel, like you park in front of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about this conversation? I watched it already, but most comedians, especially if you catch them on the, because it's really hard to catch a lot of comedians on the come up because they blow up so quickly, right? And they all kind of get on Rogan really fast. But if you follow a stand-up comedian's podcast and you're sort of listening to them when they're struggling and they may be working a job or they're just grafting and they're out there doing fucking horrible gigs and shit, usually the thing they talk about the most wanting is just an audience. They want to, you know, cultivate an audience. They want to have shows that sell out. They want to go on tours and shit. That's all they really want. It's sort of really humble sort of goals, right? They want to be able to just, you know, pay their way doing comedy, right? They want to pay for their lives doing fucking what they fucking love to do and what they maybe feel like they're ordained to do, what they've been got, you know, they're God-given gift to do. But then somewhere along the line, these guys turn it into some other thing where it's like private jets, mad cars, like it's just like what? And also it's like it's not even that's not a bad thing. It's just how do you then become funny? Like, how do you become funny when you're somebody that has that sort of lifestyle, especially if you're somebody like a Tom Segura, who you then start to denigrate your fan base. You then start to act like you're better than your fans. Because it's one thing to be super rich, but it's another thing to also despise your middle class, working class fan base. Because how can you be funny? Like, what rich person do you know that hangs out with rich people that's funny? Doesn't exist. The only way to be, that's why I kind of have respect Dave Chappelle. Because Dave Chappelle does that thing where he travels, you know, around the country, around the world, basically like a regular dude. He does loads of like regular guy side missions. He'll turn up to a fucking music festival. He'll be at some weird bar. He'll go to a fucking whatever. He'll go to the movies. Like he just like, you know, navigates around the world and interacts with regular people on a daily basis. That's probably how he basically keeps himself somewhat centered and somewhat grounded with actual real people. But these guys, people like Schulz and stuff, like Schulz arrives to the club in a fucking Escalade. Do you know what I mean? Like he's arriving in an Escalade, he's getting in through the back door, you know, minimal time with the fans, like really getting out the, you know, really making sure like, no normal people around me. How could he be funny that way? It's odd.
All right, so what do you demand right now?
Nothing.
You have a rider?
No.
Big up Sarlux.
I can't say
Green Juice Fund.
Big up Sarlux, appreciate you. Thank you for the Green Juice Fund. Appreciate the $5 super chat, my friend. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. That will go to buying some pears, or pears, as Brennan will say. Some pears, some kiwi, and some lemon. That will go towards buying that, and some ginger. Actually, I need to get some more ginger. So thank you so much, Sarlux. Thank you so much.
I can't figure you out.
In my green room, I get fruit and hummus.
Hummus is good.
And
solid.
Bud Light and White Claws.
Solid.
But that was just my manager came up with that.
I cannot figure it out. I can't figure you out.
Why?
That is a rider, but he's saying he didn't come up
I
with
didn't do that. She just did it.
She knows. But it's a nice luxury.
Yeah.
Nah, but it's like,
what else?
You want steak dinners.
Oh, Darksea the Flow. Good point there, my friend. Good point. It's because they're not comedians, they're actors. They're actors LARPing as comedians. That might make a lot of good. That might make more sense than I've actually thought of, to be honest. That makes a lot more sense. They're actually actors LARPing as comedians. Huh.
Well, I want chicken and steak because I don't want to just eat.
You see the difference?
I don't want to eat pizza.
Yeah.
You see the difference between hummus and White Claws?
What do we start with? We have a hummus platter that's there all the time.
No, you start with that. His whole rider is just hummus and White Claw. So there's a difference.
So what are you ordering for dinner?
That's what I'm saying. It's like that is crazy. What's going on here?
What are we talking about?
Nothing.
There's got to be one. You've got some money. There's got to be a thing.
He's embarrassed to be remotely demanding.
I would never be demanding.
See?
Out of shame.
Ever.
Now,
the perception.
I mean, hopefully I get there.
The perception of bougie is worse than the perception of gay.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so
this is I have one pair of pants. These shoes stink. I've been wearing them for 3 months.
What a weird panel. What a weird conversation. Imagine grilling somebody because they don't like to spend money, or grilling somebody because they're not as materialistic as you. Imagine how weird of a conversation that is. You're like surprised and shocked that somebody isn't indulging in all the fucking trappings of luxury and fine dining and shit. It's like, don't you have anything to talk about? Is this really the crux of your conversation? Like, this is insane. I forgot how wild this podcast was, man.
That's a 3-month white sneaker?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Oh man, when Al says I can't figure you out, it gets me every single time. It's like they caught an alien and they're trying to understand their peculiar ways. And so the same thing continued here with Maniscalco. It's like they won't stop until their guest reaffirms their preconceived ideas of how a celebrity comic should behave, so they can justify their own diva-like tendencies.
Let's say, for example, dropping your car, because I've heard some legendary tipping, right? Like, you know, I remember I was hanging with Rogan once. He drops the car off, it's 100. Picks it up, it's 100.
Okay, that's aggressive.
Yeah.
He's responsible. He just said he was responsible. He's responsible.
I don't know why, but when Andrew told that story about Rogan, All I pictured was Joe hopping out of his car and being the same height outside standing up as he was sitting down inside.
You know, I thought about it the other day. I thought about it randomly because that picture came up. That picture of Rogan on the Mike Tyson podcast. Don't get me wrong, it's really bad because I think the angle is really bad and it makes him look horrible. But Joe's sitting on a couch and Mike Tyson's to his left and he's Mike Tyson's co-host is to his right. And I think Mike Tyson's co-host is also a football player, I think, right? So he's a huge guy. But Joe looks tiny. And I remember some comments saying, the funny thing about this picture isn't that Joe looks tiny compared to a football player. I think they said that it's Mike Tyson's like 5'8" or something. So Mike Tyson isn't even like 6 foot or something. Mike Tyson's like 5'8", 5'7". But Joe looks tiny. So it made me think, like, when you see Joe in real life, he must get it often. Imagine how annoying it must be to be Joe Rogan. People don't see you out often enough, right? Because you're Joe Rogan, you do your own thing. So when you bump into Joe Rogan in real life, it must be a bit of a weird experience, right? Because you don't expect to see him out and about. So I bet the first reaction people always have to Joe after the initial shock of seeing him must be like, oh shit, you're a lot shorter than I thought you'd be, you know? And I bet he can see it in their eyes, or he can probably hear it when they say it. But I bet that must be the number one reaction he gets when people see him in real life. Like, fuck, you're really short. And he has to play it off like it's cool. But you know, it gets to him. It must be so weird because he is actually tiny. Like, legit tiny. Legit tiny. It's so funny. I don't know why, but it just is.
Inside the car. I don't know why, but now I just can't unsee it. Sorry if I've ruined it for you guys as well. Anyway, the efforts to reveal Sebastian's true colours continued in vain, but this next story was actually really funny. Take a look and I'll ask you a seemingly obvious question afterward.
When did you get enough money where you started to release a little of your economic anxiety? Or is it still there?
It's always going to be there. Just the way I was raised. My father.
Nothing chipped away?
Listen, do I spend money? Yeah. My wife has that in her.
What does that mean?
Just like
spending money?
Let's have a party. I love to have parties. Okay. But the way my wife does parties and the way I do parties are two different things.
Okay, how so?
Wait, what is the difference?
What's your ideal party?
We had a Christmas party last year. You know, we had a party planner. They bring in furniture. It's a whole.
Which I kind of like because then it doesn't fuck up your furniture and you don't have anxiety about people spilling over. I'm into the furniture.
Yeah, bringing in the furniture. But again, furniture is a really high.
By the way, you have to have a house big enough to have 2 sets of furniture in it in the first place. You have to live in an apartment or in a house that's big enough where you can have 2 bits of furniture in there. I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at my place, I'm like, I can just about fit a couch in here. How the fuck am I going to fit another couch in here? Great house, never met him.
Expense when you're dealing with a party. To rent furniture, it's a big dent, right?
Okay.
You got the bartender, you got the catering, there's a lot that goes into having a Christmas party, at least in my wife's eyes.
Yeah.
I said, this year, let's do something small, you know? Let's have 8-10 people over at the house. We'll get our friend Dom to cater it. We'll get some drinks. I'll pour them. Right? We don't need a bartender.
Yeah.
But as it starts, you know, to go, it's like, all right. Next thing you know, there's a truck in the driveway, and there's moving people in my house. So it's. I like to entertain. I really do.
Yeah.
And if I spend my money on anything, I don't buy cars. I don't buy jewelry. I buy experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Sebastian on that as well. I remember that's the one thing that I'm really happy that my parents kind of instilled in me. I'm not really a big birthday guy. I don't ever celebrate my birthday. But when I used to kind of celebrate it a lot, one of my things that my parents did instilled in me and my brothers was that they'd always give us money, like 50 quid, 100 quid, whatever. And they'd tell us to take our friends out for dinner. So we'd get, 2 of our best friends, 3 of our best friends, whatever. We'd go to, I don't know, if it was a McDonald's, if it was a fucking Nando's, TGI Fridays, wherever it may be. And we just basically, get everybody food essentially and put that money behind the bar. And I actually think that's a far better way to celebrate your birthday. Either you buy yourself a drink, right? I think that's pretty cool. You go out somewhere, you get yourself a nice steak dinner, you buy yourself a drink, or you just buy yourself a nice bottle and you pour it and you just give yourself a little, acknowledgement that you're fucking 1 year older. Or you take out one of your best friends or a couple of your best friends and you pay for the meal and have everybody just sit around, celebrating your day, basically, eating off of you kind of thing. But there's something quite nice about giving back to people in a day when you're meant to receive gifts. It's kind of, I don't know, it's strange to say it, but it's kind of nice that, because also I'm not really a gift. I don't really like receiving gifts either. It feels odd, right? Somebody giving you a present's a bit strange and shit. So I'd much rather buy some, have an experience for myself or have an experience with other people. That's kind of a cool way to enjoy your fucking birthday, I reckon.
And if I have experiences with my friends, my family, or if it's a vacation, I'd rather spend my money on that than go out and my home.
Okay, hang on. All right. Is that actually a thing? Do people really hire furniture for a party? I'm not talking about tables and chairs if you're having like an engagement party or a wedding or whatever. I'm talking like lounges and rugs, like coffee tables and all that. If that's legit, that has to be one of the cringiest rich people things I've ever heard. Imagine going to someone's house and they have all this random furniture in there to impress their guests, and then everyone already knows that they've rented it out for the party because they've been to their house like during the day for coffee. I don't know. What do I know anyway? I still use a washcloth.
That's true though, because this is the first time I've heard of it. Maybe some of you guys in the stream chat could let us know. But have you ever heard of people renting out different furniture for birthday parties and shit, or parties in general? It's fucking wild. I know party planners exist, especially people that have money. They exist to kind of, do those things. So I never knew that there was people, that would hire different bits of furniture in their house not to fuck it up. It's like, that's some real rich people shit. That's some real swaggy, I'm fucking rich as fuck shit.
Cloth in the shower. Anyway, Schulz kept poking and prodding to the point where Maniscalco actually had to tell him straight up that basically, you got to get over the money thing, bro. Move on. This was great. Take a look.
I just had a 50th birthday party. There was like 50 people at the party.
Ooh, that you kept it tight.
I kept it tight.
Because you could have extended.
We could have, really blown it out. But
what do you spend on something like that? What do you spend on a nice little 50th birthday party? I mean, it's not 10 G's. Like you wouldn't just spend 10 grand on a little 50th birthday party.
I'm not into pricing.
Yeah, he's not comfortable with this.
I'm not.
I mean, he's a Catholic kid, bro. He's not going to talk about money.
You should know Italians never
immigrant,
divulge what they're spending on stuff.
Because they got over on you? They got over? Because if you got a deal, you would have told me. Please believe me. If you got a deal, the first thing you would have told me.
I'll just give you this.
$1 million?
No, not $1 million.
$2 million?
There's no $1 million. On a party? Are you crazy? No.
Can I guess? Can I throw a guess? You don't have to say yes or no. I think it's 75.
$75,000?
Yeah. Might be 100 actually.
Money is so dirty, right?
It's dirty. It's a
but
dirty
it's
business.
So fun. Money's fun.
Are you a guy that likes to tell people, yeah, I dropped 50 grand on a kit car?
Yes, because
Pick up Eric C.
Give 10 Hag a life contract. Manchester is blue. Blue heart, blue heart, blue heart. Trophy, trophy, trophy.
Thank you, Eric C. Much appreciated, friend. Much appreciated.
Exact example.
Because it's so embarrassing, I can say the number.
Yeah, but would you tell me how much you spent for your wedding?
If Eric Ten Hag gets a fucking lifetime contract, I swear to God, I'm gonna throw myself out the nearest fucking window. If those fucking Glazers give that fucking cunt a new lifetime contract, I'm going to throw myself off of the nearest bridge. I'm going to shove a fucking spoon up my fucking bum. Not the fucking small way, the fucking big way. I swear to fucking God. If that absolute bald fraud, if that catfisher for manager, if that fucking walking fraudster gets a contract extension, I'm going to punch I'm going to punch the first woman that I see when I'm walking down the street. And I don't care what she looks like. I'm going to punch her straight in the face. I'm going to kick her child. I'm going to kick her dog. I'm going to push her pram with her other baby into the nearest set of traffic. I swear on my life I will. If he gets a fucking new contract. I swear. I'm going to leave it there.
No, I wouldn't share.
Okay, so
we got a deal. I would tell you on the side. I would tell you on the side because we got a deal. We got a nice deal.
All right, see, I wouldn't even tell you if when the camera's off and we leave, I wouldn't even tell you what I spent on my 50th birthday party.
But you want to know what I spent on my wedding?
I don't care.
You do a little bit.
I really don't.
Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit.
I don't care.
You do a little bit.
I really don't.
Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit.
What do you guys think? For those of you who like to psychoanalyze like me, what do you think is up here? What do you think is the obsession with someone like... Because Schulz isn't poor. From what I've read online, he comes from a decent upbringing, maybe middle class, so he's had some level of flexibility, some level of a safety net when it comes to his life and shit, right? He's not grown up like, you know, on fucking noodles and shit. So why do you think he's obsessed with money and flexing and being like, what's to do with that? Because it sort of feels like a new money thing, right? When you're not used to having money, you kind of want to talk about, all you talk about is fucking money. But it's not even like he's never had money. He's had money. He's had money growing up. His parents had a successful business. He grew up, you know, somewhat comfortably. Why do you think he's obsessed with this sort of shit? Like what? Like, and he's been famous for a long time too. No, he's been well known and famous for a while. Why do you think he's so obsessed with this shit? More than middle class. He comes down to ego, says Severe Design. He's a weirdo. Max Alex says he's annoying. Stannis. Illusionary Commission says he's got made fun of a lot by comedians he came up with for being an internet comedian. That's true. I never knew. That's a very good point. Cast Iron Pan says that haircut he makes me violent. I feel you, Cast Iron Pan. That haircut does that haircut is grounds for, like, I could catch a charge on the back of that haircut. You know, you could actually willingly catch a charge on it. You could willingly do a bid if you saw someone with that haircut. You know, just fade it exactly. We don't want. I don't know. Coiler, Sebastian had to wait tables behind Comedy Store for years. Schulz thinks it's a game. Sebastian thinks it's work. Oh, bravo, Coiler. Bravo. Schulz thinks it's a game. Sebastian thinks it's work. That might be it, you know. Sebastian actually respects his audience. Sebastian is in the service industry from being a waiter. He's in the service industry. He's there to service the fans. He's at the beck and call of the fans. Whatever they want, he gives them. Whereas Schulz and those guys, they think they're better than the fans, isn't it? That's what Tom and those guys are like. They think they're better, they're smarter than the fans. Even Bert Kreischer thinks he's smarter than these fans. It's like, bro, have you seen yourself?
Oh man, that's so good. He literally told Schulze to his face that he didn't care and then proceeded to laugh in his face while patting him on the shoulder. That's a classic flagrant moment right there. I'll definitely keep that one in my back pocket for future reference. But man, Schulze would not drop the money talk. I've noticed that he does this thing where he asks his guests questions in a way that allows him to flex on them and brag about his own success and fame, but mask it all into the conversation. So they were talking about Sebastian's latest special from last year and how he took this year off so that he could get ready for his tour next year, which is what he was promoting on Flagrant in this episode. So I'm going to pick this up in a moment, and I'm also going to bring in...
Oh, he's going on tour. I want to see. If he's here in London, I'm going to go see him, mate. Let's see if he's on tour in London. London tour. Let's see. Because if he's on tour here, I'm going to go fucking see him. I don't give a fuck. Let's see. Let's see if he's got any dates announced here in fucking London. I don't think so, but let's fucking see. What do we got here? Toronto, Boston. Okay, so no international just yet. Nothing international. Just US. Fucking hell. When people say tour, that's a fucking tour, innit? Look at those dates, bro. From July all the way to December. Wow, bro. That's a fucking tour. He's going fucking everywhere. All right, so no fucking dates for London just yet, it looks like, unfortunately. But when he does come to the UK, I'm fucking there. Cool. Okay, we have to wait. We'll have to wait for him to come to the UK.
Bert Kreischer, because I think there's another interesting comparison to make. But first, let's take a look at this clip.
It's a lot of pressure to come up with material.
That's the thing. Like, you have a podcast, but it's not like a source of your life's income. Like, you can't just, your podcast is broke. What I'm trying to say.
It is.
You know? Yeah.
It is.
Fortunately, you make the most money ever doing comedy, so you can afford these amazing things that you do. But for us, we can make a living on the pod, and then it puts less pressure on, okay, I got to get a new hour ready to go by this time.
Okay, so let me break this down. Sebastian's last Netflix special titled Is It Me was released around this time.
I wonder if that's the reason why their specials aren't good. Because technically what he's saying is that the thing that makes him the most money is podcasting. Really, if you think about it. Because it's also most reoccurring. Because I think with stand-up comedy, when do you make money doing stand-up? You make money doing stand-up when you're actually doing stand-up, right? Or maybe you might make some residual money from your streaming platform, but I don't think so. I assume when you sign a deal with Netflix, they probably give you a fee. Like, it's like what Dave Chappelle got, right? You get those millions and then you deliver what you deliver, but you don't get anything else on the back end. You just get the upfront fee. So you only make money doing stand-up when you do stand-up. But with podcasting, you can make money on the, while you sleep. You're making money with the ads, you're making money with the plays, with the AdSense on YouTube and shit. It's constantly coming in. So effectively, these guys are mostly podcasters and stand-up comedians second. So it makes sense that when they do their jobs, which is podcasting, which takes up more of their time, they're bringing their A game to their podcast. So most comedians, I feel like, are their funniest on pods. Even Rogan's not that funny, but Rogan's way funnier on a pod than he is on stage. So it's no surprise that the stand-up comedy suffers because they bring all their A game to pods and not the stand-up show, because that's what makes them the most money. I don't know why I just figured this out now, but I guess that's that might explain why Sebastian's so funny. Because he puts all of his effort into stand-up, because that's what makes him the most money. Whoa.
Time last year, almost exactly to the day actually. And so what Schulz was talking about there was how Sebastian has taken this whole year off and he's coming back for a tour next year in July titled It Ain't Right. Now, Andrew's point was because he has the Flagrant podcast, which makes around $250,000 a month, plus another 70 to 80K a month on Patreon, he doesn't have to stress about his income if he was to take the same amount of time off as Sebastian did. Now, don't be mistaken though, Sebastian is one of the highest grossing comics at the moment from touring and releasing specials, etc. So he's clearly got millions in the bank. He doesn't have to worry, right? But what I found so interesting about this whole conversation was this next bit. For me, this is probably one of the biggest distinguishing features of comedians like Maniscalco compared to guys like Schulz and Bert Kreischer.
But also the cool thing is that you get to work from home, you're around your family, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where you don't have that pressure to, oh, shit, I need a new hour by February. So let's go, because this tour starts here and I gotta go.
Yeah.
You could do that whenever the hell you want to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but it is difficult to come up with.
How the f are you coming up with a new hour?
Well, I gotta live. That's why I took some time off. I was constantly on the road, this and that and the other thing. I had no time to even live my life to extract any material. So I said, you know what? Let me take a beat here. Let me concentrate on other things, whether it be a TV show, the podcast. Let me spend some time with my family.
Smart.
And I was talking to Chris Rock about this, and he kind of put it, he goes, there's no way you could make an entrance if you never leave the room.
There's a thing that sometimes you see comics doing with it. as part of the joke, they're referencing when they did, one time I did this in Alabama and then this happened. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh, you're not living a life outside of comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the only things that are happening to you that are like worth talking about are the other things that are happening in comedy.
Yeah.
And people don't do comedy.
They don't do comedy.
They live life.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, you got to extract from real life experiences.
So that right there, apart from the obvious.
That's interesting, isn't it? That also explains so much about what we're seeing on stage. It does explain so much, especially if you look back to people are noticing it in the stream chat, the amount of money these guys are making on pods. So let's say, for instance, Schulz is making 200 grand per month via his podcast, right? And of course, a split between all the different people and shit, plus a Patreon. It's maybe clearing 300,000, 400,000 per month from content he does on YouTube or content creation. It's no surprise that the stand-up is shit. If you make that much money doing content creation, it's going to take somebody very dedicated to sit down and start writing jokes seriously. It's no wonder the jokes aren't hitting the way they need to be hitting, because you are spending most of your time content creating. That's also making you the most money, which is then putting less pressure on the stand-up, which means the stand-up doesn't matter as much as it would in the past. It's not like live or die sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's a nice to have. It's actually an add-on type of thing. It's a bonus at the end of it. That might explain why these. Think about Theo Von. Theo Von's a good example. Theo, I love him, but his stand-up is pretty shit. Also, he's not the greatest stand-up ever. He's way funny on a pod. Makes sense as well. Theo probably gets the same amount of views as Flagrant do, right? So he probably makes about the same amount of money, and it's split with less people. So he's probably making anywhere between like 200 grand to 500 grand a month via the content he makes online. It's no surprise the stand-up specials aren't that great. That probably explains a lot of it, but I don't know. What would you rather, though, if you're a stand-up comedian? What would you rather? Would you rather have a career like Sebastian's or have a career like Schultz's? Because they both still get to the same numbers, right? Money-wise, but it's a different way to operate and stuff. I think I'd prefer Sebastian life. I'm not going to lie. To be able to take like a year and a half off from working to hang out with your family, raise your kids, and your fan base is still there, and you can go on a fucking tour covering most of the states in fucking America, and obviously go on a war tour also after taking a year and a half off. That's pretty decent. Recording one podcast per week, if that. I'd take that. I'd take Sebastian, honestly. Like, it really would. Because the Schultz way of living is a little bit, you know, it's a bit mad. Especially when it comes to how egomaniacal he is, you know, without really nothing to show from it. I don't know. I prefer Sebastian way. I don't know what you guys think.
Obvious talent gap is precisely what differentiates comedians like Maniscalco from guys like Tom and Bert. Those other guys are constantly putting out content, overexposing themselves, both figuratively and literally, and just generally trying to jam way too much into each month compared to what they can actually handle. And so when it comes time for them to do a tour or put out a special, it comes off as rushed and unedited and generally lacking originality or thought. Take a look at Bert Kreischer describing his approach to his stand-up comedy career from season 1 of My Career is Burning.
I get obsessive because I start going, I got a new joke, I want to go to the store, I'll go to the store tonight. Even though I don't want to, I'll go to the store tonight, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to do that. I feel guilty if I don't work. I feel like this is the first, I've been in this business for 20 years. The last 3, I've been able to make money doing what I love is just stand-up. Sure. And so I'm like, make hay with the sun shines. Push it as hard as you can. You want to put me on tour? Put me on tour January to March. Get me to Europe. Get me to Australia. Then let's start it up again in September, and let's push all the way to the end of the year. Let's do a special. I'll just write my fucking off. Like, that's where my head's at. Because, dude, there's so many people in this business that don't get opportunities. And when you get an opportunity, if you don't seize it, I feel like Tupac knowing I'm going to die, you know?
When was the last time you had a physical?
Yeah, that's so eye-opening. I truly think that is the wrong approach. Did you notice how Bert was only concerned with milking his fame for every dollar? He didn't mention once his actual fans and ensuring that his comedy is of a certain standard so that they actually enjoy his shows.
That's so true. And that's, I think, the really sad bit about it, and if you're a fan of these guys, like, you support them, that support helps them make more money, get more famous, basically take up comedy professionally, wherever it may be, full time. But then also on the flip side, it can have a detrimental effect because that money could then end up making them take their foot off the pedal, get a little bit more relaxed, and then you end up with, you know, the issue that a lot of comedy fans have where, you know, these guys are richer and more famous than ever, but the podcasts are terrible. So the thing that they should be good at, because that's all they do, they're terrible at. The stand-up is also terrible, so you're left with nothing. It's like your mum's house fans. Think of your mum's house fans. Think of OG your mum's house fans, how they must feel. Your mum's house starts off amazing in that room, right, in their house where they sit across from each other. Because I think that was the best era of your mum's house, when Tom and Christina were sitting across from each other, playing all those fucking random clips, having people submit songs, right? Like fucking, it would make me die laughing, that podcast, right? So fucking funny. And then over time, they both get really famous, they both get really successful, and the podcast suffers so badly now that it's legitimately unwatchable. It's such a shame, man. It's so gutting. It's like, fuck, man. Like, I used to love this shit, and then it goes to complete shit. And Tom Segura's stand-ups specials aren't that great, personally. I don't think so. I think it's a bit overrated as a comedian. Christina P, unwatchable, stand-up wise. No, thank you. Tolerable on the podcast, but stand up and not having it. So if you're a fan of your mum's house, you have a shit podcast now, and the stand-ups aren't really nothing to really write home about. So what are you left with? Nothing. What are you left with? Exactly, Koila. It's like a friend died. Exactly. It's like, what are you left with? Nothing. Anyway, let's move on from that one. Let's big up Podcast Cringe. Appreciate you, brother. You are the best. You are the best. Make sure you subscribe to Podcast Cringe. That guy is fucking smashing it. Okay, let's go to Brendan. Brendan had an interview with this guy called Hot Breath Comedy Network. I don't know why, to be fair. Usually he's like very picky about who he does interviews with and stuff. So let's see why he decided to sit down with this guy. Who is Hot Breath? Who did you do before? What's his most popular video, actually? Who's his most popular interview? He did an interview with Felipe Esparza on a clip that's got 1.4 million views. Wow, okay, sick. Oh, really? He's got I watched this ages ago too. There's a clip here of, who's that? Some guy talking about the joke doctor, talking about Bill Burr's writing process. Felipe Esparza again. Okay. Mark Norman clip here. So he has done some good interviews here. Okay, fair enough. So he's a well-known guy. Let's check it out anyway. Hot Breath is your weekly guide to comedy mastery with over 400 interviews featuring latest comedy. Okay, let's see the Brendan interview. Let's see the Brendan Schaub interview. Let's see what I go on. So far, Brendan is not a draw. 476 views. Jesus Christ, bro. Okay, let's see. Let's see if this loads. Yeah, it's loading. If you're enjoying the stream, make sure you're also please like the stream if you're enjoying it. Please like the stream if you're enjoying it. That will be much, much appreciated. That will really be much appreciated. Let's see if this loads up here. Da, 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 da. Come on, bro. Hurry up, you piece of shit. Oh, for goodness sake, come on.
My thing is, I'm not even that famous, man. There's so much better people to hate on.
Do you even see it online? Do you ever catch yourself
looking or
scrolling
I think it's
anything?
unavoidable. It's also not people's fault. Like, the way social media and YouTube works. Like,
what was I going to say to you? I think one of the easiest examples you can tell that Brendan buys views is always the view count on his interviews on other podcasts. Those are usually a clear indication of most of his success or most of his numbers being fake. When it comes to his followers, when it comes to his views and shit, it's all been. I think he's been buying views and followers since minute zero. That's my personal guess. My guess is that from the beginning of when he got into stand-up or got into media, he was buying followers on Twitter, buying followers on Instagram, likes. He was doing it from the jump, but it just coincided that at the moment he was buying followers and coming up, he also met Rogan. So it was like the perfect, it was at the perfect moment for it to happen. But I think if that didn't happen, it would be more obvious. But it's always obvious when he goes on other pods because that is pitiful. for somebody that's got a podcast that gets like 50K views and shit, to go on another person's pod and get under 500 views after one day, that is crazy. That shows that he doesn't have any real organic reach out there because he's been buying views from minute one. So there's no real gauge on who his customers are, who his fan base is, or how big or small it is. That's the real issue. So those numbers are dicey as fuck, bro.
Algorithm works. It encourages hate.
Yeah.
You're gonna get more likes and more feedback when you hate.
Can you sue people? Have you tried doing any of that?
The internet's always gonna internet. There's nothing you can do to combat that. If you're gonna critique,
Algorithm is
stand up, my fight picks or my football picks, all good. That's what the internet's for. Now, if you're gonna go out there and defamation, like Brendan hits his kids or beats his wife, well, then you got my attention.
Who said that?
Hot breath. Yeah, that's the thing with this show. I've been doing it 7 years. And now it's like, okay, maybe it should make money. Type deal. You know, I
100%.
flew out to LA to
Hobbies
record
are cool,
podcasts.
but it'd be dope if you did this as a living, which you should. You're good at it, and you get good guests.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why this shouldn't be your.
That's why he did the show. He saw the guests like I did when I was browsing. That's why he did the show. Now we know why he did it. He just saw the guests and he was like, yeah, I want to be next to those guys. He has no idea who the guy is, no idea in his, on him as a person, the kind of questions he asks, whatever. He just saw the guests. He's like, I want to be associated with those people.
Focal point. And then also as a comic,
classic.
It's just a good way to, it's just all in the same ecosystem.
Yeah. What would you say for like, what kind of advice would you have for this show? If I could selfishly
for yours
ask you, yeah, it's primarily right now super engaged in like the comedian community. Comedy fans aren't that aware of it yet, and like so the numbers reflect that. So I'm at a point, I flew out here to do podcasts. Where it's like, where's the ROI? How can we start making?
American people, you guys are insane, bro. Like, so he has like 30K subscribers, like basically around the same level of a channel as I have, right? And maybe the views are probably about the same as mine, right? Let me just go on his channel on my phone here. And he's flying out places to go interview people. Fucking hell. Just do it as a hobby, and then when it starts paying you enough, then take it pro. It's not that deep, brother. Why is he doing all this? What is wrong with this guy, bro? Oh my God. You're putting your family's security and shit on the line for a channel that has 400 views. I can't believe this. Hold on, let me see this. Hot breath. Let me go. I'm gonna go on my phone to check it, all right? Let me go on is it Hot Breath Comedy, right? Or something. What is the channel called? Hot Breath Comedy. Okay, I'm on the channel right now. He's got 30 subscribers, 30,000. I have around 21,000 or something, right? But if you go on the videos, most of these video clips get around the same amount of views that I get on my channel. So sometimes it's under 500, sometimes it's 1,000, depending on if it's a clip somebody wants to see, whatever. I'm not flying anywhere to interview anybody, okay? I'm doing this as a hobby. I'm doing this for fucking beer and ket money, essentially, right? I'm doing it to fucking have some fun with you guys, waste some time, because I probably have undiagnosed ADHD and I'm a fucking, I can't fucking sleep and shit. So that's why I do this stuff. It's for fun. It's for beer and ket money, have some laughs and keep it moving. I'm not going to put my fucking livelihood and my family's future on the line for a channel that gets a couple thousand views here and there. That is redacted. That is honestly redacted. And this guy flew to what? LA to interview comedians. Because we don't have enough comedy podcast interview shows, right? We don't have enough of those. Wow, bro. Wow. Maybe, again, I don't know. Maybe I'm the redact. Maybe I'm the redact, and maybe this guy, what he's doing is actually way more serious than what I'm doing it. Maybe he's got better setup, better cameras, he's got guests and stuff that I don't have guests usually. I get it. Maybe he's actually knows what he's doing, but this is wow. Wow. Wow.
Making money back.
I mean, how's the social media clips and stuff like that? How's the reels?
Yeah, that's where I need
social media consultation from Brendan SCHAUB. No way.
To be consistent. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Get those out there,
That's
and then
the
it's
game.
going to help. Because you can only do so much in what you're doing, but it helps. And
how about giving the real advice, Brendan? Tell him to be friends with Rogan. If he gets on Rogan, that might change his life, like it changes yours. Come on, be honest. Be honest.
I've never understood this when comics, whether on a show or they're on your podcast, when they don't blast out your stuff. Like it should be like we're a team. We all help each other out.
Yeah.
So like after you do a clip of this, I should blast it out, and then people are like. My fans are like, oh, what's this? And then look, oh, that's dope. That was a different interview or whatever. That was a fun interview.
Yeah.
And they go down the rabbit hole, and then it just builds.
So he blasted this out to his fan base, and he got 400 views.
Okay. Whoever you have on, there's nothing worse than like, hey man, you mind posting this? You know, it's like, but I always like, whatever we do, food truck or whether it's finding the kid, whoever you have on, I'll let them know, hey, we're live, and I send them the clip. Up to them what they want to do with it. I won't be like, hey, make sure you post this. But, I come from the place like, yeah, man, this is part of the gig. Like, you come on the show. Like, part of this is, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. It's also just the right thing to do. Yeah. It's like comics. When I first came to L.A., and I started stand-up, they would send me the flyers. I'm like, oh, cool. And I'd always put it up. Always. I'd blast it either on the main page or on Twitter, especially on my story. And so many clubs were like, oh, thank you so much for posting the graphic that you're on the show. I'm like, yeah, why would? Who's not doing that? They're like, nobody. I'm like, oh, interesting. Why wouldn't you want to promote you're on a show? Like, comics like to save that stuff just for their tours or whatever. I'm like, who cares? I don't get it. Why is everyone so weird about this stuff?
No, he gets it. Because you lie about your numbers. You lie about selling out. For some reason, stand-up comedians have a real weird insecurity around not doing well on shows or not having shows that have a good turnout, which is strange because there's too many stand-up comedians out there, not enough customers, right? It just is what it is. So you're always going to be struggling to get people to come out to your shows. And it's actually hard to get people to buy tickets. This is coming from somebody that used to promote, club events and shit. I used to do like free parties in bars. So they're already popular bars. It's already it's a free event. I'm booking the DJs out of my own pocket and people still don't turn up. It's hard to get people to come outside. So it's difficult. But for some reason, comedians have this weird insecurity. They don't want to appear like they're not a big draw, which is odd because when you start off, you're never going to be a big draw. You're going to have to work your way up to it. Just post this thing and who gives a fuck? But it is what it is.
This show's all about comics helping comics. It's interviewed over 400 comedians on here all about comedy. So that's the spirit.
If you interview 400 comedians and you still haven't been able to take your pod full time, maybe it's time to quit, no? It's different for me because I'm doing this on my own. I don't really want big guests and shit. I don't give a fuck to talk to them. But if you're doing this to be like the next Rogan and you're 400 episodes in and it still hasn't taken off, maybe give up. Maybe give up, burn your outfit, shave your head and start again.
Spirit behind what we're doing, so maybe I do need to tap into that a little bit more, and that intention of wanting to interview someone and like celebrate their success and learn from it. Same thing when marketing it, of like, hey, let's all help each other do better and spread like the joy of comedy.
You're a good dude, and obviously you've been doing comedy for a hot second in Atlanta, so it's like,
he's a comedian too. Fuck, bro, brutal. You're still coming up doing comedy, 400 episode interviewing comedians. You haven't still blown up. That is brutal, bro. So big up to him for still being in it, for still putting himself out there. Big up him for doing that. But god damn,
you doing well doesn't take away from insert Bill Burr or insert me.
I bet he's funnier than Brendan as well. He's probably been doing stand-up longer than Brendan. Probably funnier, and yet look at him. Big up NJ Ranger.
400 views. Good. Use it as fuel.
I bet you, thank you, NJ, I appreciate it. I bet you this guy is actually funnier than Brendan. I bet you. This is a real humbling. It's a real humbler, isn't it? You're going to Brendan's fucking massive complex, his big studio, where he has his Ferrari outside, his big Jeep, his big TRX truck. You're interviewing him and he's an absolute redact and unfunny. You're way funnier than him, but you have to do this. Credit to this guy though, man. Credit to him. Big up him.
It has nothing to do with it. Who cares?
Yeah.
There's enough pie for everybody. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like the bigger your platform is, well, it's a home for comics. Like there's only a few podcasts that comics can go. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of podcasts, but if you become this hub for comics, great. It's another outlet where we don't have to bow down to this bullshit, major media conglomerate and jump into there where they dictate
what major media's kind of interview you, Brendan? Come on, bro. Be for real. What major network's trying to interview you? Come on, Brendan. Come on, Papa. Come on.
You can say what you can't. They have Pfizer as a freaking sponsor. It's like, that's what you guys want to promote. All right, cool. Or you could get really big and then comics have a home to go to.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to picture it as. And we were talking before the show, as we were like talking about your studio, is I'm starting to picture it almost as like how Carson would like showcase comedian and their talents and put them in a good light and let them be funny and find new fans. I'm starting to feel this show was heading in that direction of me just interviewing comics, but also setting them up to succeed, and thinking of maybe putting a studio in Atlanta that is more like late night vibe, for lack of a better term.
That'd be cool.
But really like just go all in on that vision of like kind of Johnny Carson vibe.
Yeah.
This nigga thinks he's Johnny Carson. Come on, bro, man. I wish I had this level of confidence. I wish I had this level. Maybe I should start saying that, innit? Maybe I should start saying I'm the fucking Black Joe Rogan. I'm the UK Black Joe Rogan. That's what I am, right? Sitting here with my 100 live viewers. I'm the UK Black Joe Rogan. This guy's fucking crazy, bro.
That'd
Wow.
be dope. Like when you had Earthquake on recently, how was that interview? Just do you guys know each other?
We reviewed his comedy special on our YouTube channel.
His recent
the
one?
legendary one, yeah, dude. It was like 14 laughs per minute, and he really enjoyed like how we went into the science of the special.
He's such a good comic,
dude. I mean, he's been doing it over 30 years.
His nickname's Earthquake.
Yeah.
It's not because of his weight when he walks in. It's because when he performs.
Oh, come on, Brendan. Don't explain to us. We know.
Literally, people think there's an earthquake.
It's one of the best specials I've ever seen. Like,
amazing.
Still, it is.
Curtis Blades, because his name rhymes with Blades. This guy is fucking special.
Is undeniable, and he's one of those vets who recognizes like, oh, younger comics like appreciating the craft of comedy. So we like connected, and then we actually met in Atlanta. I was supposed to interview him in Atlanta, and this was when I was just one-man band, my own camera and everything, and I had an audio malfunction on my recorder, like it would not read the SD card.
Nothing worse.
So then we're just in
the worst. As if do you think Brendan even knows where to put in an SD card? Do you think Brendan's ever seen an SD card? Do you think he's held an SD card? Do you think he knows where to put an SD card? Do you think he knows how to, export whatever's on an SD card? Like, come on, bro. SD card, the worst.
In his dressing room, and I'm like, all right, well, we're doing it on my phone, and he's like, well, let's do it the right way. He's like, we're friends now, we'll do it the right way. So then a few months later, we just connected, and I've been going back and forth with his publicist, and then we booked a date for me to be on his radio show and to also record
the
podcast in his studio. So it was just networking and just, I think, years of goodwill that a veteran's like, oh, I see this next generation. Let me help them out.
Yep. No, yeah, and that's how it should be, man.
Big up Eric C.
The Beckham documentary was so much better, seeing how far the mighty United have fallen. Just finished it. Manchester is blue.
One day I'm gonna catch you. One day I'm gonna bump into you. One day. One day. One fucking day. I swear. One day. One fucking day.
Yeah.
That's really how it should be.
Yeah, I don't like the negative, competitive, which I feel like Joe Rogan really like shifted the mindset in comedy of like, we're not against each other, we're really together, and we can like, a rising tide can lift all boats.
Correct.
He seemed to be like the tip of the spear on that.
And then he took that ship and, he went to Austin. So that's the same philosophy out there in Austin. But, now LA's like Game of Thrones because the king's out got his head cut off. By head cut off, I mean, he moved to Austin.
Yeah.
And then now it's back to survival of the fittest.
Oh.
Which is fine. I can do both.
Yeah.
What? LA's Game of Thrones now because Rogan left. If anything, he should have no reason to complain or to even make this point, because he got the best of it. He was able to enjoy LA when Rogan was there during the boom of podcast. So you had the double benefit. You had the benefit of being Rogan's friend. You had the benefit of his exposure, of his platform. And you also were in the mecca of stand-up comedy at that time. So you could get loads of guests. You could do loads of spots. And you were just super visible. So that kind of exposure, you can't pay for that sort of exposure and timing. It's just one of those things. It's like a luck thing, right? It's like serendipity. Cool. Enjoy it. Nice. Now it's changed, obviously, because Rogan's left and there's no more gatekeeper. He's no longer the gatekeeper that he was once before. He's now trying to complain and act as if like it's a bad thing. Come on, Brendan. You were letting your nuts hang and enjoying that time when Rogan was here. Well, it was in LA, sorry. Cool. You enjoyed it. You probably stepped on a few people. You probably big time a few people. You probably, let it known that you were a big dog. Now it's not so much the case. It is the way it is. It's the ebbs and flows of your career. It goes up and down. What can you do? It kind of is what it is. You accept it and you keep it moving. But that little complaint, that little bitchy, snarky thing he said there was not cool, man. Not cool. Come on.
Adapt with both. I'm down, but it was a better time when Rogan was in town.
Of course, because you got all the spots.
It's just, when you got a guy at that magnitude going, this is how we do it. Everyone respects everybody. We support each other in every way possible, whether it's podcasts, putting each other on shows. Like, this is how we do it.
I love how he's trying to say that people don't support each other now because Rogan's left. No, people don't support you because you fraternize with a guy that got accused of rape, bad for business, and a guy that's been accused of being a pedo, bad for business. That's the main reason why he's not, maybe within the in crowd of the LA group of comedians out there anymore. And obviously the beef with fucking Bobby Lee, which started because he tried to fuck fucking Kalila, right? He tried to fuck Bobby Lee's girlfriend at the time. Everybody turned against him because everybody loves fucking Bobby Lee. Plus all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes, I'm sure. Plus the Annie stuff. Plus Brian getting accused of rape. Plus Chris D'Elia getting cancelled and him still being his friend. That's what probably led to him being ostracized. Less to do with Rogan, more to do with his own decisions and the people he associates with. It is what it is. Again, I'm not the biggest Chris D'Elia fan, but if you're going to be Chris D'Elia's friend, you have to accept that most likely other people won't want to be your friend. Because I'm all for being loyal to your friends. I'm all for that. Right? Cool. Be loyal to your friend, Brian and Chris. But you have to accept that some people will just think, that's not good for business, I'm not going to do it. Because make no mistake, some of these comedians don't have any principles or morals. Most of them don't want to, socialize or be on pods with Chris because he's just bad for business. Not because they have any moral objection or have any principled stances against like diddling or abuse or manipulation or whatever it may be. No, they don't care about any of that stuff. They just don't want to, lose their fucking Athletic Green sponsors.
Like, people are like, I guess that, even if they didn't want it, like, yeah, that's what I got to do if that's what the guy says, and that's how he carries himself, we're going to do the same. So it was just a more welcoming time. Then he leaves and that kind of standard's gone. And, you still got the big boy, you got Santino and Bobby doing, Bad Friends. You got Bert Kreischer. He just does his on his own. Segura's gone. Theo's gone. Tim Dillon's in and out, right? So it's just kind of everyone's spread. So that kind of, those kind of unspoken rules are gone.
Oh. I don't think that's true. I think that's a big lie, but I'm also wouldn't be surprised if it was true, if that's how the comedy scene is. It's kind of catty and backstabby. But I just think he's not willing to accept, or he hasn't been able to realize what's actually happened. It has more to do with people just not liking him anymore and decisions that he's made and the people he's associated with. I think so. Less to do with Rogan leaving. But again, I could be wrong.
Which is, I'm down for the lawlessness town. I'm down for that. I'll survive in that. But it's just not as fun, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Have you been on his mothership yet?
I have not. I'm there Saturday.
Here comes a lie. Here comes a fucking lie. Here comes a fucking lie. Have you been to the mothership yet? And again, think about it. This is the same person who at Skankfest made that dying confession. Oh, he confessed, I can't do mothership yet because I'm just not funny yet. I'm not at the level. I'm not funny enough. When I get there, I'm gonna do the mothership. Now listen to him lie and retcon it. That's why I said when he made that declaration on Skankfest, I was like, this is coming from this is like a fake thing. This is him trying to pull at people's heartstrings. This is him trying to basically act like he's somewhat, self-aware, but he's not really. So listen to him now, many months after, how he justifies why he's not performing at Joe Rogan's comedy club in Austin called the Comedy Mothership. Listen to him lie.
But when I come in, I'm there for the fight companion, and the cards out there start at 9. So we get done, sometimes a 3-4 hour show. So we get done at 1, 2 in the morning, and I don't want to go up the mothership when it's
like you have a choice.
Like you have a choice. So we need to figure out the time where I'm not there doing shows. It's just tough with my schedule too. Like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to go there, love to perform.
He's gonna make sure his kids
figure something out. But
your kids' shield.
When Joe asks me, I'll be there,
Sure.
But it's tough with my schedule.
Gotcha.
It's tough with his schedule. It's tough, and he also doesn't book it. Adam Eget, who used to work.
Oh,
at the
now
store,
we're blaming Adam
Adam's
Eget.
my boy. So we just got to figure something out. That makes sense. But
look at that smile
with kids, and it's just I don't live the life of some of these comics, in their 30s or damn near 40s that don't have kids or don't have a wife. Where man, if I was younger, if it was
you hate your kids and your wife though.
I'd be on a plane out there on a Tuesday night.
You ran away from your daughter's birth.
6th Street and doing my thing, but now it takes a lot for me to leave. I don't care what.
Oh my God. He blamed it on his schedule. He says if he had the choice, he wouldn't want to go up late, as if he has a choice. He blamed it on Adam Eget. He blamed it on his kids, right? He definitely blamed something. On his wife and everything else in between. When really what he said at the Comedy Store or at the Skankfest was actually the truth. We've all hypothesized, or the theory that's, out there at the moment is that most likely Rogan pulled him to one side and told him. Because I remember there was a period where Rogan kept complaining that certain comedians kept asking to perform at the Comedy Mothership, and he basically was laughing and saying they know deep down they shouldn't be really performing, or they shouldn't be doing weekends or headlining, but they just ask anyway, and it's a bit awkward. And I think a lot of people on the Fire and the Kid subreddit, myself included, were thinking most likely Rogan's had a chat with him. He's probably let him know, hey, you're not funny enough. And it makes sense because since Rogan's moved to Austin, he's like a different guy now. He's got a different social circle. The comedians he hangs around with are also different. It looks like he's tried to reset everything since he moved to Austin. Whatever he did in LA, he probably didn't like, and he changed it. My theory is this. My theory is that Brendan trying to fuck Kalila did actually more damage than him still being friends with Brian post-rape allegation and still being friends and doing pods with Crystalia post-Diddler accusations. I think when Rogan found out about that Bobby Lee thing, because if you believe the story, Brendan and Brian are on the phones with Bobby Lee trying to bully him and shit, and they use Rogan's name. And then I think it gets back to Rogan. And then I guess Bobby Lee then thought Rogan didn't like him also. Rogan then calls Bobby Lee, says, hey, we're cool, don't worry, I'm not involved in this, I didn't say nothing, don't believe what they're saying. So I think that was the first time Rogan really had an understanding of these guys are using my name. And trying to basically flex and trying to use me as a son, whatever. So he didn't like that, probably. He didn't like when he found that information out. So it probably makes sense since then he's gone cold on Brendan and Brian. So because he's gone cold on Brendan and Brian, he also reset how he does comedy. So now he's not just giving Brendan sets for the sake of it. He's saying you have to earn it. And he probably told him, hey, you're not funny enough. Your last special was fucking trash. When you get funny, that's when you can perform at my club. But Brendan's still got this weird, I'm not sure if it's an ego or if it's an insecurity, whatever it is, he can't accept it still in his brain. So he makes up these fairy tales that, when I'm there and I'm the time, it's like, bro, you run to Rogan's podcast when he calls you. You love leaving your family behind. Just recently, his wife got taken to hospital to have an emergency C-section, and he was out driving his car around, going to get it fixed and shit. You know what I mean? He's acting like he's the beast of a dad, but not really. You know what I mean? He doesn't really hang out with his family for whatever reason. So to use your family as an excuse is a bit weird.
What it is, man.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. Like me and Bert, when I was on his show, I had this conversation, Bert started crying, because Bert's the best in the world, man. He's the absolute best guy in the world. But he tours different. He gets a tour bus. He's gone for weeks, months at a time, and he did that even when his kids were young. And so I was asking,
oh, this is a bit nasty. Is he judging another comedian for touring a lot because he can't tour, because no one wants to book him, because he's not as maybe in demand as he once was? That's a bit disgusting. That should be something that you don't do if you're a comedian. If you're to your fellow peer, you don't judge how they live their lives because they can afford to go to Vegas or to go to Cancun or to go to Miami, get drunk, hire hookers and shit. You don't judge them and act like you're better than them, because if you had the option to do so, you will do the same thing. If every comedian could do what Bert Kreischer does and tour every single fucking day of the year, they would do so. Especially playing at fucking arenas and theaters. They all love money. They love fucking fame. But the fact that they can't do it, you then can't start dunking on him. No, that's a bit lame. I don't like that. We can do that. Us regular civilians, we can do it because we're not involved in the business. But I think if you're a pair, right, in the industry, it's a bit lame to look down upon your fellow comedian because they're getting booked more than you. Because you would do that in a heartbeat. Let's be real.
Him out his movie, and this is before it came out. And he's like, hopefully with the Russia war, who knows, man, it kind of screws me over. I'm like, that's terrible, man. It's like your big break. Not that you need it. Everybody knows who you are. But when you make a movie about the machine store, this is a big deal. He's like, I know. And I'm like, how long were you out there? He's like, man, I was in wherever they shot in Russia. He's like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months. I'm like, oh, that's insane. He's like, let me ask you this. I know you're a homebody and you got kids. If they asked you to do a movie, but you couldn't see your kids for 4 to 6 months, would you do it? I'm like, no, I wouldn't do it. He's like,
lie. That's an absolute lie. That's an absolute unequivocal lie. If they asked him to be in the next fucking John Wick, he would drop everything and do that. That's a lie. They're all like, and again, it's a weird cope because his career isn't going where he wanted it to go to. Suddenly now he's beast of a dad. He cancelled an entire European tour. One I bought tickets for. I bought tickets to see him in London. He cancelled it 2 weeks before because he didn't sell enough tickets. And then he tried to retcon it and act like he cancelled it because he was trying to make his 7-year-old kid a professional baseball player. Come on, bro.
Like, you're telling me if they're like, hey, you can be Batman, but you can't have your kids for 6 months. I'm like, that's the difference between us, dude. It's just not. I've just gotten to this level. It's not a success level. Maybe it's a maturity level. Now nothing's worth missing.
Maturity level. Yo, this is really, what's that thing called? This is super, not disingenuous. What's that word? If I was Bert, I'd take offense to this. I'm not going to lie. He's basically saying Bert doesn't care about his kids. And he's saying that he's more mature than Bert because he wants to stay with his kids and his family. This is really bad. Like, yikes.
In the time. You leave for a week, and if you have a 2 or 3 year old, they're completely different, man. You're missing that stuff. It's just not. That's where I'm at, man.
Missing that stuff. What's that stuff?
Yeah.
And is that the motivation behind Thick Boys?
Their childhood. Missing that stuff.
Studios is like, oh, let me just build something right down
You're
the road.
You're missing, what's his name? That critter.
That I can kind of like
Balenciaga.
You're friends with Rob Dyrdek. That's basically what he's done. Like, his office is right down the road.
Correct.
From him too. Is that like your mindset now?
Yeah, I think so. Just everything's
Your friend
more
Rob
convenient.
Dyrdek,
When I was with Showtime for 6 years, we're in Santa Monica, but I still lived out here in the Valley, so I'd drive, depending on traffic, at least an hour and a half every day there and back. Just talking about 2-3 hours. So I wasn't able to pick my kids up from school, drop them off. So it was just, one thing about running your own stuff. There's a lot of other things that I didn't anticipate happening when you're the captain of the ship. Because when I was at Showtime, I was the talent. I just showed up, did my thing. They took care of the staff, the booking, the cameras, I didn't no overhead. I was like, whatever, and they just paid me my salary, and I got out. That was an easier, simple life, man. It was a lot easier. And there's pros and cons because they're not coming out here. They're not going to move their operation out to Calabasas.
He definitely misses that. And I would too if I was him. He definitely fucked that up. What an easy opportunity. You get paid a salary from Showtime to do your crappy MMA show that you don't really prepare for. If he just would have put 10% more effort into it, he probably still would be with Showtime now. But he put so little effort into it that they just thought we can't justify paying this guy that money. Then they hire Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell as a replacement, and they put in 10 times more, maybe 100 times more effort than him, and they saw the complete difference in input, the complete difference in numbers, engagement, all that. So like, you know what, I bet you most likely Showtime probably pays Luke Thomas and BC far less than they paid Brendan. I bet you any money they paid Brendan way more than what they pay Luke Thomas and BC combined. And he was still pulling in that horrendous lack of effort show. He really did fuck that, because that was such an easy opportunity. You make a salary that you can probably use that money to pay for more equipment, to take more chances on your own content. It was such a dumb thing to fuck up, to be honest. That's really one of his worst fuck ups, I think, really. That fucking up that relationship with Showtime and getting fired effectively was really, really dumb. Because if you just would have put a tiny bit more effort in there, he would have probably still been over there.
But it's good and bad. The good is I can drop my kids off at school every day, pick them up. I don't miss baseball games. The bad is you have to be a boss. That's not what I signed up for.
That's what happens when you get fired from jobs, isn't it? When you get fired and you're looking for the next job, you always justify it like, yeah, it's a good thing, man. I got time to focus. I can start learning Spanish. I can start going on my morning runs. You start to like have all these plans. But you spend most of the time just like furiously looking for jobs. You're like, fuck that. I'm just worried I can't eat next month. That sounds like one of those excuses, one of those kind of copes. You gotta love Brendan.
Even as
he got fired and he finally understood the virtues of being a father, the benefits of being a family man. Suddenly when he got fired, like, wow, my kid's actually quite cool. I love my wife.
Like, I don't have to fire people, talk to people about their salaries. Like, I just want to show up and be silly with my friends and, have a good time with these pods. But so Heavy lies the crown with that stuff, man. It's good and bad. But life was much more simple. It was even more simple when I was fighting the UFC. My life was less stressful as a UFC fighter than it is now as a comic. Comedy, because UFC, you have one.
The hardest job in the world is being a stand-up comedian. The hardest job in the world.
Goal, whatever. Let's say your fight's December 15th or 16th. Okay, I have this camp. I know what to do in a camp. Show up. It's very black and white. Was it a success, win or lose? Great. But with comedy, it's like, you can be doing this for like 40 years, man. And so you gotta pace yourself when to work, how long, how long you want to be out. It's just a different animal, man.
Yeah, but even in the MMA, like, you were selling supplements door to door, and a friend was paying for your training.
Correct.
So it's like, that wasn't like a cake.
LOL, I believe in that story, by the way. This guy is very gullible. Press X to doubt that he sold anything door to door. X to fucking doubt.
Guac either.
It wasn't a cake.
Yo, big up Austin Casey. Appreciate it, brother.
It's probably just me, but I've always hated how Brenda always says correct after people say something. It seems like he's always talking down to people.
That's such a funny thing to fucking notice. Big up Austin Casey. That's such a funny thing to notice. But yeah, I see what you mean. Correct, yeah. No, it's like he's... They all have this personality. I'm not sure if it's a Rogan thing, correct? They all have this personality where they always assume the role of like even here, don't get me wrong, the guy isn't helping. The host of the show is really sucking up to Brendan, and the energy is palpable, right? You can tell the dynamic in this interview is that Brendan is his superior, and he's, the up and coming guy just wants some advice. The one nugget of information is going to change his career. So that probably doesn't help it. But a lot of those Rogan guys have that personality where they kind of, even Hinchcliffe, look at Tony Hinchcliffe on Kill Tony. He kind of acts like he's the fucking, you know what I mean? The god of stand-up comedy. Like, he knows all things. They have this weird, I'm not sure if it's an ego, if it's I don't know what it is, entitlement. It's something. They have this air about them where they literally think like they walk on water because they've got past at the Comedy Store. Okay.
Guac, but I also didn't, it's just your lifestyle changes. Back then all I had to worry about was myself. So it's like, I don't care if the money comes through, if someone screws me on payment, I don't care. When I have employees who are my friends who I care about, so they got to get paid. I got kids, they got tuition, I got a wife,
I don't deny that Brendan does have a hard life when it comes to supporting his fucking family. He has a wife that probably hasn't worked in a decade. Legit she hasn't had a job probably like 10 years. And she has very expensive taste. He has kids that go to private school. And again, it doesn't matter where your kid goes to school. As a parent, the last thing you want to do is make your kid change schools because you don't have the money to afford them to stay in the school that they're in. So that pressure is crazy, right? You're going to have 3 kids going to private school, a wife that has very expensive taste, plus your own materialistic needs. Like, can you imagine what Brendan's monthly nut is? Pause. Can you imagine what his monthly expenditure is just to keep his lifestyle the way it is? From the leasing of the cars to the wife's fucking credit cards to the Balenciaga trips, the kids' fucking Nikes, the baseball coach. Whew.
Mortgage, multiple mortgages, like
cars,
cars, yeah.
The wife's house, the mother-in-law's house.
Who's gonna pay for these skinny jeans, dude? And my shoe collection, man. So it's just back then it was like I didn't care, dude. You know, it's much more simpler.
You have 6 shows.
Coil is nasty.
Here. Is it 6 shows here?
What do we got? Finding the Kid, Golden Hour, SCHAUB Show, Food Truck, Calabasas Fight Companion, and then am I missing anything? We'll do the one-on-ones. Yeah, around 6.
So
that's where he makes his most money. He has 6 shows doing basically most of them talk about the same topics or they're the same shows, but then he has different ad contracts for each one, or he has separate ad contracts for each show. That's the smart thing he did. He just said, oh, hold on, if I can get this contract for this one show, how about if I just do 6 small shows? Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. So that's where the real money comes in.
It feels like
because it's not an overarching ad deal for Thick Boy shows. It's a deal for each show.
Maybe have figured out like a framework or some sort of workflow to a successful show.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe from an outsider's perspective, but the caveat to that, and me and Theo used to discuss this, is it better to do less, and so you're working less, so you have more free time to do what I don't know what Theo does during the day. I have no clue what he does during the day.
Yeah,
he does 1 show a week. I don't know. My thing is I'm addicted to work. I'm a workaholic, and I have to. It's a balance. I've met with experts how to deal with that, but I'm like a shark. If I stop.
Hold on. So you're a workaholic, but you also want to spend time with your family. No, you're a workaholic, but you don't like to go on long tours because you have to spend time with your family and raise your kids.
Stop moving, I'll die. So it's a problem. So you'll see I've built all these shows, I've done all this stuff, and I constantly want to work and do stand-up every night and multiple sets and multiple shows. But there has to be a balance. Is it better to do less and get all the views on just that, or spread it across 6 different shows and do a million different things, you know? So I don't know if I think...
this is Brendan trying to cope. Because Theo gets a lot of views on his podcast, so maybe he's trying to say across all of his shows, he could get millions of views. But because Theo does only 1 show, Choose With Stories, this past weekend, that's why he gets all those millions of views, because of the 1 show he does. Not because Theo's a really entertaining person, he's a funny guy, people like him, he gets great guests on, they have good conversations. No, it's because he does only 1 okay, I get what he's saying.
Figure out the formula. You know, I don't know if I have. I think as I get older, like less is more. Theo told me that a long time ago. But that's what works for him. Because for Theo, he's like, I just don't like having to, prepare for shows, because I have to, especially SCHAUB show or the fight shows, I have to, research, do stuff like that.
You don't research shit, bro. Come on. Why are you talking about Theo in this conversation? Is this like one of those things where he's subconsciously been thinking about him a lot in terms of his success and the fact that he hasn't come back to the Thick Boy or Fighting the Kid since he left? Why is he talking about Theo?
And then on King the Singers, me and him, like that was a roast battle. I was writing roasts, and me and him were going back and forth. So that show wasn't something that you wanted to do twice a week, and he was like, man, I don't like having the anxiety or the pressure of constantly working Monday through Thursday. Like, I want my freedom. Like, yeah, that works for you. And he's figured out, man. He's crushing it. He's one of the funniest people I know, and that works for him. But then Rogan.
That is strange, the way he's talking about Theo. Something smelly here. I'm sensing jealousy, envy, regret. That's what I'm smelling.
He'll work Monday through Friday, do 3-4 hour pods and just roll with it, and then stand up at night. So that's what worked for him. Adam Carolla I think Adam has 10 podcasts he does a week. Legit, like 10 different shows on top of the Carolla show. Like he's working. He has like a car show, Dr. Drew's show, the Adam Carolla show. He does all the stuff and stand up at night.
Oh, geez.
So everyone's different.
Yeah.
But like with Howie Mandel, Howie.
Also, don't you love that throughout this entire hyperbole, throughout this entire bio, not once has he mentioned putting on a fun show for the fans. The fans love it when I talk about fighting. I want to make an entertaining show for the fans. I want to make them laugh, entertain. Like, nothing about putting together a fun show, interesting show, what the fans get out of it. It's just about grinding and fucking squeezing everything you can out of the views and the content that you're putting out there. Really interesting way to look at content, isn't it? Jesus Christ, bro. Like, don't you care about having a good show, informative show, funny show, uplifting show, whatever? No. Let's just like more shows, more ads, more views, more AdSense, like more bookings, more shows. It's like, God damn, bro.
He owns JFL. He's on America Got Talent. He was on all those game shows before that. The guy, he's probably worth, I don't know, he's guessing here, 300-400 million. Yeah.
Of course you're guessing. You think about their worth all the time. If there's one person in comedy who thinks about people's net worth a lot, it's Brendan. Honestly, this is probably after podcasting, one of the worst things to happen to stand-up comedy after podcasting is definitely this hustle bro culture thing, where it's all about trying to maximize the amount of money you can get out of the content you make, as opposed to thinking about how to create good content that will also help you get money, right? It's always firstly about how to get the money first. That's one of the things that's really fucked up stand-up, I think, honestly, apart from podcasting. Because I feel like if you put on a good show, more than likely that will spread, people will hear about it, and by default, people will view it, and you'll get more money. Like Theo's a good example. He's probably making way more money now because he puts on a good show. He has good guests. He asks good questions. It's a fun conversation. Blah, 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 blah. But the genesis of it is because the show's fucking good. Not because he just tries to squeeze every ad out of the fucking show. It's like, God damn it, man. The fans get fucking shafted, innit? The fans get shafted. They really do. If you're a Brendan Shaw Thick Boy fan, like, you get some mediocre content week after week after week, just as a platform for him to like get more ads. DraftKings, Rain, Happy Hippo. Fucking hell. What are you guys saying in the chat here? Uche, I wish Theo would start a new podcast with a different co-host than Brendan. I think if he MMA joiner, take a break and learn how to be entertaining. Yeah, brainless. Exactly. Like, they don't do one show just for pure self-indulgence. Like, I could say probably the AgostinhoZinga show, my main podcast, is that for me at the moment. Because if I just do random show all the time, it'll probably do way better because people want to hear or see most of this content more than they want to hear me talk about clubs. But I generally enjoy talking about fashion, all that sort of type of things, because that's what I'm interested in, right? So that's a purely self-indulgent thing. And it feels like if it was me and I had the money that these guys would have, I would just do more of that. Like, get the money to do more things that you enjoy doing, not just make more money. I don't know. It's a weird way to look at things. Maybe I'm too fucking, what's that thing called? Maybe I'm too naive in that regard. Maybe the money, when you do get it, it does kind of change you. But you'd think if you have the money that gives you a bit of a safety net, a bit of a buffer, you would take more chances and make the show fun for your fans to watch, or do things that interest you more. But nah, not really.
Asked me to go to his podcast studio. It's not far from here. I walk in, I'm looking, it's dope. I'm looking around. He's asking me to look at his fish tank because I know fish tanks. I'm like, yeah, all the fish are dead, but whatever. And he's asking me like, just a question about the podcast game, stuff like that. I just looked at him and I was like, why? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, why do a podcast? You're on NBC on America Got Talent. Why are you doing a podcast? He's like, because, that's a season. So I shoot those seasons, I'm done, and I'm my stand-up. But he's like, with podcasts, I control the workflow. And he's like, and I have to work. He's like, I'm addicted to working. He's like, it's not even about the money. I'm set. He's like, it gives me something to focus on. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Teach their own, but I would not be that guy.
All these guys hate their fucking families, man. Being married or being in a relationship with a fucking stand-up comedian, especially these hustle bro types, must be exhausting, innit? You're making all that money talking on stage, right? Working maybe 6 hours per week, but then you look for excuses not to hang out with your family. You book shows, you do more pods. Like, they fucking detest hanging out with their families. They really hate it.
Yeah, at a certain point, I think I've heard you say that your business isn't run by like what's gonna make money. Like you said, you don't make decisions based on like what's gonna make the most money.
Never. So now that's different when I have employees. So then sometimes I have to do certain things where I would never agree to because I know it's gonna bring in this certain amount of money. I'm like, all right, it's more work for me, but everyone's gonna eat. All good. I'm down for that. But yeah, I never go, oh, let's do this because I know it's going to be the cool, trendy thing to make a ton of money. No, that's not the business I'm in.
Okay, if that's not true, then why not just put the SCHULZ show at the end of the Fire and the Kid? Really and truly, what he should do, this is my own opinion, to make the show more interesting and more quality, having Brian, riff off him, they should actually do the MMA UFC coverage thing he does on the SCHULZ show at the end of the Fire and the Kid, how they used to do it before in the past. But Brendan has this idea in his head that he's way more knowledgeable about the UFC than Brian, which he probably isn't, right? Even Brian is a casual like me. Brian ends up breaking down cards and picking winners far better than Brendan does because he actually watches the sport and has, can remember previous fights and shit. If that was true, he wouldn't do the SCHULZ show. He would have the UFC, MMA, combat sports analysis tacked onto the end of the Fire and the Kid. But the reason why he does a SCHULZ show is because that allows him to have other ads on the SCHULZ show that he doesn't get on the Fire and the Kid, or just have the same ads on another show. Because like I said, what he did before, as we learned from the podcast one kerfuffle, was that he basically launched all those pods to have more ads that you could then tack onto the shows because they're all separate contracts for each different show. That's why he does them. So this whole idea about I do shows just for the love, I don't do for some, it's like, come on, bro, come on.
Man, ever.
What is like the structure of like a podcast, like monetizing a podcast? Because it seems like you're very savvy at like, okay, advertising, but then you also seem to have merch.
So this is turning into like a one-on-one consultation, isn't it? This guy is really, really hungry to succeed. Again, wish him all the luck and stuff, but I don't think Brendan's the right person to ask this kind of information from. Because he kind of, I won't say cheated, but he got a really big advantage from being introduced to comedy by Brian Callen, an established comedian, and also being friends with Rogan and having the number one, highest amounts of the highest amount of appearances on the Rogan show, on the JRE, sorry. Those two things are probably a bigger reason as to why he's so successful, as opposed to his like hard work and hustle. Do you know what I mean? So as much as I like this guy, I think Brendan's the wrong person to ask for advice personally, because without Rogan or Brian Callen, he'd probably be the same place this guy's at.
Figured out, and then also like Patreon. Like, what are the streams that you build to like elevate a show?
Yeah, so it's all in the ecosystem, right? Because you have your podcast or your podcast network, which people will tune into, every week, every day. Hopefully, if you're doing it right. But then that promotes the comedy. So it's like they go hand in hand, because the better your podcast doing, the more tickets you're selling. So that's in that ecosystem.
Extra doubt on that one.
And then with me, I think during COVID I realized it, even before then, but you know, when it comes to podcast reads, there's so much more you can do with that. Because the podcast read is just an audio read, and they might get some return, but you know, even I fast forward through the ads, so it's like this can't be a good. When someone talks to me like, "Well, here's $20,000 for a read," you know, for this month, I'm like, you're not gonna see your money, man. I'm telling you, you're not gonna sell $20,000 in underwear. Like you know, you might be good for brand association, but you're not getting that money. So my deals now, I have those. Obviously, we have the podcast reads, but
what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say he will turn down a sponsor if they offered him $20,000 because he felt like the product wasn't gonna sell as much? Come on, Brett. Are you trying to? He's trying to sell us. He turns down money. Okay.
Now it's more of a 360 deal where it includes social media, whether it's the Fighting Kids social media, Golden Hour social media, my independent endorsements will trickle into the show. So it's this whole ecosystem where it's just not predicated on a certain amount of views you're getting, stuff like that. So they're getting the biggest bang for their buck.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not.
So he's leveraging his own fame to get more deals because at the moment the numbers aren't good, right? Audio is king. The numbers on his podcast aren't good enough to maybe justify some of the big numbers he used to get. But he's leveraging his fame, aka his friendship with Rogan, to get more deals for himself that then trickle into the pod. That's what basically he's saying. Again, the amount of time this guy thinks about ways to squeeze and grift money. Imagine if he thought about his comedy this way, his content this way. He'd be actually quite funny. If Brendan thought as deeply as he does about how much money he makes, he'd probably be funny. But because he focuses all on just squeezing as much as he can out of the ads, that's why the comedy isn't as great. Probably why.
Not predicated also, you know, because summer's a slow time for podcasts, you know, or predicated on we have this huge guest. Let's make sure we do this. So it's just a way to kind of ride the waves where it's not these ups and downs, you know. So that's, and then with the Patreon was interesting because some guys kill, like Tim Dillon kills it, Schultz kills it, right? There's certain guys who just crush on Patreon. I'm never been a big fan of the pay structure behind a paywall. And
you know why he's not a fan of Patreon? More work, and it's a really slow grind. And you have to put a lot of effort into it. Like, I know, because I don't even update my Patreon too tough, innit, right? And I know how much of a beast that shit is. That's the reason why he doesn't like it. Because it's a slow grind. You have to really put a lot of work into it. And there's a lot of, like, expectation. There's a lot of, like, you're not dependency, but it's expectation. You kind of are beholden to the people that support you in the Patreon. If you say you have to deliver something, you have to deliver it. So he probably doesn't like that. He wants to do things on his own accord, wake up when he wants to do it, you know, have the money guaranteed in, not have to graft for it. That's why he doesn't like Patreon.
I think Theo's thing, and again, Theo doesn't get enough credit.
Theo again. Brendan thinks about Theo a lot, innit? Brendan's got Theo in her brain a lot. He mentions Theo even without even his name being mentioned. Fuck.
As far as business-wise, because I gotta be careful how I say this just because of the stuff with contracts, but with
Brendan is a chatty patty pocket watcher, jealous guy, innit? Why is he mentioning Theo so much and these contracts and shit? This is weird.
King and the Sting, the show was blowing up, and we thought we deserved this much, and we were expecting this much, and that didn't come to.
Yo, big up Bong. When are you moving here to Southern California? I would probably never move to the States. I'd probably live there for a bit, but I'd never move to the States, to be fair. If I did move somewhere, it'd probably be somewhere in like mainland Europe, somewhere nice, somewhere Mediterranean, somewhere warm, maybe Italy, maybe Spain, maybe somewhere in France or whatever. But I couldn't see myself living in America. I'd probably travel there a lot. You know, when I have the means to do so, I'd probably do that more often, but I wouldn't live there, I don't think. Personally, I wouldn't live there. If anything, I'd probably live in South America. I'd probably love to live in like Colombia or Venezuela, Chile, Argentina, Nicaragua, right? With my niggas in Nicaragua, right? With my niggas, then I would live in the States personally. But I'd love to visit her. I'm going to visit soon.
To fruition. So Theo's like, why are we letting this certain company sell things when we're not getting the money? Why don't we have the fan base? Why don't we go behind the paywall, behind the Patreon? He's like, they'll rally. Maybe not everybody, but they'll rally. So we did that. So we decided to cut half and half. Again, that's not because we wanted to make all this money. It was because it was a way to secure our future in the show. Going, let's not.
Isn't that money though? We didn't want to make money, but we wanted to make the money.
Bank on them coming through and paying us.
Mm-hmm.
This we can put in the time. It's a great show, and the fans support us. It was like, I don't know, $5. He's like, it's a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Hopefully,
I'd rather have the cup of coffee. I hate people say that. I detest when people say that. It's just a cup of coffee. No. I'd rather buy the coffee than give you $5.
People subscribe to that. Then we don't have to we're not slaves to the system. And that was the thinking behind that.
Mm-hmm.
We still do the Patreon now with the Golden Hour. It's just that people get familiar with it, so you don't want to change. But the paywall is tough because there's so much free content out there. But the super fans they're down for the ride. Like those are your ride or dies. Whether it's a good show, bad, those are your ride or dies.
Whether it's a good show or a bad show, I love that little sentence you put in there.
I don't know. I'm seeking your guidance here, as like you've seemed to have figured out like the media side of this podcasting game, and now I'm looking to elevate this podcast really into a show.
Yep.
So I'm really looking to like getting.
And I think that's something.
I'm not gonna lie. I think he's wasting his time talking to Brendan. If anything, he should just do it. It sounds like he wants to do like a Rick Glassman style type of show with Johnny Carson bits in it. So maybe there's a bit where a comedian can go on and do a bit of stand up during the show. Just produce it, make the show, put it out there, invest your own money into it, and then see where it goes from there. You don't need to ask advice really. Just make the thing, try it out, and see where it goes from there. And if there's an audience for it, and if people like it, there's a demand for it, you'll see it with the views, you'll see it with the engagement, and then maybe you can leverage that engagement and sell it to somebody or put it on a network or something. It's not that hard. You don't need to ask Brendan for advice. This is pretty basic, man. If he has the money to fly to fucking California to go and interview Brendan and pay somebody to do the recording, all this sort of shit, he should put that money into actually making the show that he wants. Whatever show he has in his head, make it. Why do you need to fly to Brendan?
You have to do, because I think, we've been doing Fire and Kid for 12 years. When we started in Brian's Garage, you're at almost 13 years now. So when we started, everyone that gay on didn't have a podcast. Like, there's no level to entry. There's no barrier. So anybody can do it. People see the success of shows, whatever show you're into, and they go, I can talk, I can do that. So they do it. Doesn't mean it's going to be successful. So now it's oversaturated. And especially in the past year, the podcast bubble burst. The Spotify deals, they lost their ass. Not on Rogan. They saved their ass on Rogan. They're lucky they signed Joseph Rogan. And I don't...
Oh, come on. Let's not suck Rogan off too much, please. Because even I very much doubt that Spotify have made their money back. If you believe Bert Kreischer, who's a real big chatty patty, Bert Kreischer let it leak that Joe actually got 300 million from Spotify. Not 100, not 200 million, but 300 million. I personally doubt Spotify have got back 300 million from Joe. And again, he's a big pod. I love his pod. I listen to it basically every week. But I very much doubt that Spotify have got back any of that money they spent on Rogan. So everybody didn't make the money that they meant to, because they were all getting gross. I won't say grossly overpaid, but Spotify probably paid too much to secure those pods on their platform. It's probably good for the engagement and the eyes and the users and the signups, but I doubt Spotify made their money back. I really doubt it.
Rogan and I will argue about this. I don't give a fuck. He got underpaid.
Rogan got underpaid for 300 million to have exclusive rights to the pod. No owning of the IP. If anything, Rogan scammed Spotify. He definitely got the good end of the deal that way, because he gave them a podcast, he licensed it to them for a few years and got an upfront payment with zero censorship, or not censorship, but with zero notes from Spotify. They don't book guests for him. He does that all himself. They obviously got some shows deleted, but 300 million for a show you licensed to a platform for a few years and you still get to keep the IP. Come on, bro. That's a mad good deal for Rogan. You should have got more than that. How much more? Come on, man. It's 300 million is not enough.
You look at the valuation of their stock and how much that company is worth now because they signed Rogan compared to what they paid him. I'm a shark when it comes to business. They underpaid my man. They underpaid.
No.
He should have got paid a lot more.
That's
All
fucking
good.
crazy.
All good. That's his thing. You know, I would have done the deal. I'm just saying, you look how much that company is evaluated now, and then you look at the money they tossed.
Hold on. You think everybody uses Spotify only listens to Rogan? He's acting like as if they don't have music on there and other bits and pieces. Like, Rogan's not the be all and end all of fucking content. He's great, don't get me wrong, but God almighty, bro. He's absolutely slobbering Rogan here.
The Obama.
Coil, 300 million, leave the marketing to me.
That woke boy, what's his name? Fucking Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
Woke soy boy. He's calling Prince Harry a woke soy boy. It's fucking hilarious, especially when you consider the hats that he wears as well. Like, I don't know.
Get all these shows that and the other shows I'm fan of, so I won't say them. They've all lost their ass on that, except for Joseph Rogan.
Also, calling him Joseph Rogan, like, you need to really give your head a wobble.
Could have taken that money and just put it towards him, you know, and signed a longer deal because his deal's up soon.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think it was a 3-year deal. Good luck with that.
3-year, 100 million?
Yeah.
Why is he laughing? It's actually 300 million, but even if it was 100 million for 3 years, Rogan still got the better end of the deal, and I bet you Spotify haven't made 100 million in 3 years off of fucking Rogan's pod. 3 million in fucking sign-ups or whatever. 0. I bet you they haven't. But I don't know why he's laughing for.
but even that, he was making, and people are like, oh my God, so much money. He was making, I don't want to give away his financial, I mean, he was making good amount of money, but it's not.
The rumor is Rogan was making around 30 to 60 million on just having his pod on YouTube, AdSense, whatever, sponsors, Apple Podcasts, all that shit. Without Spotify exclusivity, he was making around 30 to 60 mil a year. That's the rumor.
Not like that's far off from what he's doing on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess there's a, if I could get the middle class of podcasting, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, hell yeah, middle class good living.
How important is mindset to what you do? Because it seems like everything you've done, whether it's excelling football at a high level, MMA at a high level.
Football at a high level, he hardly played.
Stand up in 2 years.
MMA, not really high level either.
Here's your shooting a Showtime special, like podcasting. Dude, but the fact that you were willing to even think that as a possibility. I think as comedians, we can be battered and be like, well, I'll do my 10 years and then when I pay my dues type deal. But you were like, no, I'm like doing this now type deal. And I think that's rare in comedy, especially.
There's nothing wrong with paying your dues. As Tim Dillon said in that amazing podcast, he made that point of saying, either you pay your dues now or later, but you're going to have to pay them. So if anything, if I was Brendan, I would have not taken that Showtime deal, still grinded. And even if you don't end up being funny, at least you have some time to develop and build, as opposed to taking the deal straight away because it's money and because it's opportunity for you to like boost yourself and become more famous, and then having that be one of the most defining things about your career that people will never ever forget. He has now, in the history books, he will always be remembered for having one of the worst rated specials of all time. Big up Austin Casey, I appreciate you, brother.
Brenda fought Travis Brown in Deck of 2014. Then Joe talked to him about quitting the fight game. So how have they been doing fat for 12 years?
He said 13 years also, I heard that. He has this thing of wanting to appear like he's been doing podcasting for way longer than what he has, which I don't get, because he still did it early. Even if he started in 2014 or 2015, that's still way earlier than most people. Way earlier than most people. I think my pod, when did I start my one? I think I started mine in 2017, innit? Let me actually see on my fucking phone here. I think I started my podcast, the AgostinhoZinga Show, available on most streaming platforms. I think I started mine in 2017. No, 2015 actually. I lied, 2015. But that still was a long time ago. There's no need for me to lie and say I did it in 2012, because 2015 is still longer. It's still way sooner than most people. So again, I think with Brendan, those sort of things like you pointed out, Austin Casey, I think that is more so an indication of how much of a pathological liar he is, because there's no need to lie about that, because the actual truth is still very cool. The fact that you did UFC fighting, so you was at the UFC professionally for a long time. You quit that after the talk with Rogan, and you transition into what he's doing now with podcasting and stand-up. That's still an amazing story. But the fact that he has to embellish and sprinkle fucking sugar and salt on it to make it more interesting is proof that he's a pathological liar. That's a really sad thing about it, because his actual real origin story is still really interesting and cool, but he feels so insecure about it and always wants to appear like a big dog. He's always fucking lying about stuff that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
So like, is there a mindset to you being able to excel in an industry so fast, or like, what do you attribute to that?
I don't know. I wish I could, because I don't.
Are you aware of it though? That like you enter
I'm
industry
aware.
and then just
yes and no. And Sam Tripoli helped me out with that because I was being hard on myself over something. And he goes, "Dude, do you know how hard it is to become a headline?"
Over something? What? Canceling the European tour? I bet you. He cancelled the European tour and he went crying to Sam Tripoli.
Comic. He's like, because you're in LA and because who your friends are and you're surrounded by headliners, you think that's the norm. He's like, go to Florida, go to Philly, go to New York, even go to freaking Atlanta, go down to Tennessee. He's like, dude, it's so hard to be a headliner and there's great comics.
Imagine a grown man having to tell you this and you didn't know this before. Imagine having to understand gratitude via Sam Tripoli. Fucking hell, bro. This guy's lost. Sam Tripoli had to give him a talking to so he can understand that maybe the good times that he had weren't the norms. Regular stand-ups that are just working and grafting don't all have the opportunity to be Rogan's best friend and have that boost their profile. They're grafting. How can you just only realize that now? That is fucking insane, to be fair. It's a really crazy thing to even admit.
He's like, so for you to be able to headline in that short amount of time is nutsos, man. It's the fastest I've ever seen. He's like, it's not. But you got to remember, from my perspective,
Jared Mellerick, it's not meth, by the way. It's vitamins. Remember that. It's not meth. It's multivitamins. Get that right. It's not meth. It's multivitamins.
It's a blessing and a curse because I have blinders on. And so I see, Segura, Kreischer, Rogan, Joey Diaz, KLAN, Theo, all my boys. These headlines. So I'm like, oh, this is what you get in comedy. This is what you do. And then now, as I get older, been headline for 6 years now. Been in comedy about 8. So it's like, as I get older, I'm like, oh, that's And I see these now. I don't bring a crew with me. I have the clubs or the theaters book the local talent.
Oh, he can't afford to bring a crew anymore. There's no friends. There's no stand-ups. That's pretty sad, to be fair. Because remember, he used to always insult the local comedian type of guys. I always bring my own crew. I don't like using the local guys. Now he only uses local guys because he hasn't got a crew. There's no BGL. There's no Chappelle. No Malik. No Justin. No anybody. It's just him and Big J. Crazy.
I want to see what's going on there. And there's some great comics.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, now I get it. But you live and you learn. I learned the hardest way. The advice I would have.
You know what's funny about what he learned the hardest way? I remember Joey Diaz saying, and I said it plenty of times on here, Joey Diaz gave Lee Sayat the greatest piece of advice when Lee Sayat was complaining that Joey wasn't taking him on the road with him or letting him perform in the same shows he was performing at. And Joey Diaz said, no, you need to perform and start with people who are at the same level as you, experience-wise and whatever it may be, at the stage of their career. You need to hang around with open micers, hang around with people that are 2-3 years into comedy. He said the reason why, because he says, if you hang around with me, Joey Diaz, and Bill Burr and all these guys, you'll start thinking you're a big shot too. And you'll start assuming that the things that we're getting and the opportunities that we have and how we hang and how we talk, that's how you should be too. When really you should enjoy the moment that you have being a young, stout-up comedian type of thing. And I think that's what happened to Brendan. Imagine going from being Rogan's guy, getting spots at the Comedy Store when you don't deserve them, when you haven't been passed yet, and then trying to be okay with having this almost, it's almost like your career is going in a downward spiral type of thing. It's hard to kind of, come to grips and accept that sort of thing. That's why I can understand why he's going through this weird, midlife crisis thing with the cars and shit, because you went from being the hottest thing out associated with Rogan, then suddenly Rogan cuts you off, moves to another place, and now you're kind of on your own, and everybody that you kind of shitted on your way up, because for sure Brendan's the type of person who definitely didn't abide by the adage of like, be careful who you're shitting on your way up, because they'll probably meet them on your way down. He definitely shat on a lot of people, and those people are taking a lot of pride, a lot of fucking pleasure in shutting him out now that they're in the kind of hot seat and they're the fucking shot callers. That's what's probably happening there.
For comics, like, learn from me, man. As far as,
I really need to get some hobbies, isn't it? I really need to get some fucking more hobbies. I need to spend more time outside and touching grass. The amount of times that I'm sat here pontificating and psychoanalyzing this absolute redact, wasting my fucking time, wasting my life, I'm fucking ashamed. I should be doing more with my life. I should be inventing things. I should be DJing at big parties. I should be, you know, having a big fashion collection. I should be doing more than sat here doing this shit, innit? I had this realization, like, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing with my life? But big up all of us here, losers, enjoying, laughing, and pointing at this sort of stuff. Big us. Big us up, okay? Big us up.
there's no rush. You're going to see these comics posting clips on social media, and that's the trendy thing to do. And you see everyone's posting crowd work because they want to ruin their 15 minutes or 30 minutes or their special material. And you see all this crowd work. And I don't have the answer.
Yeah, L's in the chat for the loser gang. Big up Quayla, loser gang and proud. L in the fucking chat. L in the fucking chats. Let's go.
Do something different. Everyone's doing that. Do something different. And also don't be in a rush to get that stuff out. Like let it build. Like for me, and I had advice from Rogan, from Brian, like don't do a special yet. Wait. With my other special with the Gringo Poppy, everyone's like, oh, I got 2 million views. Yeah. I would have waited on all of it. I would have waited till I got 10 years.
You know what's funny? He's missing out. The real story. That Brendan and Joe Rogan told him not to take the Showtime deal. Rogan told him not to put out Gringo Pappy. And he said no. He basically didn't listen to them. The You Be Surprised story is the best one because he admitted that he said that he thought that Rogan and Brian were jealous of him. That's why they were telling him not to take the Showtime deal. Imagine being 1.5 years into comedy and you think Joe Rogan and Brian Callen are jealous of your success. That's why they're telling you not to take a special deal 1.5 years in. The ego and the hubris of that kind of person is just another level. He was always going to fail, really. If Brendan started off with an ego where he felt like he was deserving of a stand-up special on Showtime 1.5 years in, he was never going to succeed. That kind of person is never going to get humbled, or is never going to be introspective. It's never going to be self-aware. They're going to need and they're going to need to get humbled. And I don't think it's maybe I'm in the minority here, but I don't think you need to go through what Brendan did or has gone through, or what he's currently going through to learn a lesson. You don't need to always get humbled. You don't need to get embarrassed. You don't need to lose to learn a lesson. You can just learn along the way, keeping your eyes open and being somewhat self-aware. That can kind of help. You don't always need to go down to rock bottom to be like, you know what? Maybe I should be nice to people. Maybe I shouldn't try and fuck people's wives. Like, you don't need to lose your family to figure out maybe you shouldn't be chasing fucking bartenders in comedy clubs. Like, it doesn't need to go that far. Like, you know what I mean?
And there's a reason they say that. So it's like, don't be in a rush. I know it's going to be tempting because you want to get it out there. You see all your friends doing it or comics you look up to do it. Don't be in a rush. Mm-hmm. Just wait, man. Just wait. There's no advantage to doing it early. There's absolutely zero advantage.
So why didn't you wait?
Good question. Best fucking question. Well done. Hot breath comedy. Exactly, Assad. What's amazing is when you're humbled like Brendan, you usually learn, but this dude still doesn't. Exactly. That's the really fascinating part about Brendan, why it's really impossible to not look away. Because he's getting so many signals from the universe that maybe he's not the greatest guy in the world. Maybe he's not the most amazing person ever to walk on the face of the earth. Maybe he's not God's gift to comedy. He's getting all of these signals. The universe is like, keep telling him, you're a douche, you're a dick, you're a lie, you're a this, you're a bully. But he doesn't change. He just goes. It's like, bro, do you want to get to the bottom to figure it out? You don't need to get there. You got given such a good advantage, such a good career. Like, don't fucking take it for granted. Figure it out before it gets too bad. But here we go. Let's enjoy the ride. Now let's see why he says he didn't wait. Let's hear his answer.
I didn't wait. That's a good question.
Money.
It's tough. And, put yourself in
Money.
my shoes. You're 2 years into comedy. Showtime comes to you.
1.5
offers
years.
you this amount of money. More money than I ever made in the UFC. More money than I was making on podcasts. And also you do this hour that you've been doing, for 2 years. You're like, yeah, why not? Why not? And I was like, oh, this would be cool. People will realize I've only been doing it for 2 years. Fastest comic ever get a major network special. They're going to celebrate this.
Hold on. So people will realize you only been doing it for 2 years, but you're also giving yourself a pat on the back for being the fastest comedian to do it in 2 years. Huh? So it's not a common thing. What he's saying there is fine if you're just a newbie with no friends. If it's someone like myself, if I got offered a comedy special after only doing stand-up for 2 years and I have no contacts or friends in the industry, maybe I would be tempted to take it. But when you're Brendan and you have Rogan and Brian Callen as your best friends who are in comedy and they're telling you, hey, don't do this deal because you're probably not at the level yet where you should be recording a special with anybody. You shouldn't be having any of your content recorded and out in public because you're still learning. You're still shit. Get good first and then record your shit, then put it out. Don't record it or put it out now when you're still learning. It doesn't make any sense. But he didn't do that. So that's the thing he's missing out. He's missing out that piece where he asked his friends with experience what he should do. They said don't do it and he did it anyway. The reason why he did it, we understand why, is money, which is fine. Just say it and say, look, I couldn't turn down the money. I was in a bad place. I needed that money. That money, basically gave me the life that I have now and I wouldn't change it to save the world, which is fine because he clearly doesn't care about comedy anyway. He's not like he's not trying to leave a legacy of having a special. He's not trying to move the needle or whatever. He's just here for the money. Fair enough. But just be honest with it. There's no need to lie and skirt the issue and stuff because that's why he took the deal. And maybe on paper he was smart to do it because the Showtime deal led to him doing the SCHULZ show, the Below the Belt show on fucking Showtime, which then led to him doing boxing analysis and shit. So it did help him a lot, right? Having that association with Showtime. But I just feel like if it was me and I was him, there's no need to do that. Like Brendan was super famous back then still. He could have easily still made loads of money down the line if he would have turned down a Showtime deal. Maybe 3 years in, he would have got a HBO deal. Maybe he would have got a Disney deal, whatever. There were so many opportunities for him because he was so hot then, still associated with Rogan. It wasn't like he was not going to get more money offered down the line. Do you know what I mean? It was a little bit short-sighted in my opinion.
No, that's not how this works. What? No, they're not normal human beings. No, buddy. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
They're gonna despise you for it. They're gonna hate you for it. I didn't see that coming. All good.
That's stupid though. He should have seen that coming. He's a real doofus. If he didn't think that him getting a stand-up special 2 years in an art form or in an industry where most comedians don't get good until the 10-year mark or don't get any offers until they're 20 years in and shit. If he didn't think that would cause some issues for him in the scene or create some animosity, he's an absolute redact, really and truly. I don't think that's true. I think he knew, but he didn't care. And obviously it turned, because that's the thing, if it would have turned out right, imagine if he would have been okay and the special was good, which was unlikely, but imagine if it was, he wouldn't be saying this. So it's only now he's saying this now because the special was terrible, but if it was good, he wouldn't be saying this.
I have big shoulders for a reason. I was built for this hate. It doesn't affect me. But I don't like it. But I wish I could change some things, but it is what it is. But I have thick skin. So I didn't see that coming. I was like, oh really? You guys okay. But then I put myself in their shoes like, dude, that guy over there was doing it for 15 years, then got a network special. Like, yeah, man, he's not going to like that. Of course. Yeah. I get it.
Look at the smile. He takes the actual glee in the fact that, the guy that's 15 years in is like, I also love how he hasn't mentioned once here Rogan. Rogan's played a bigger, I I would say Rogan and Brian are equal in terms of their impact and influence in Brendan's career, because without Brian Callen, he doesn't do Firing a Kid. Without Firing a Kid, he doesn't even try stand-up in the first place. But it really does, it's really insulting to everybody's intelligence when you don't mention the big elephant in the room. That Rogan association, especially when Rogan was popping off back then, is undeniable how that can change your career. Look what he did to fucking Andrew Schultz. That one appearance on Rogan completely changed the trajectory of his career. Shane Gillis, all these other, no, Shane Gillis not so much because he was already popular there, but come on, bro. Like, let's be real.
I get it. And I have no ill will towards any of those people. I get it.
Yeah, you seem to be good at like just focusing on what you can control and not letting the negativity get to you.
Lies.
I mean, I have to. Otherwise, I drive my TRX
off the PCH,
PCH, off the PCH.
Oh, yeah. I knew you'd say that. He loves that fucking line. I drive my Porsche off the PCH. It's like
my TRX.
I mean, it's a Dodge truck. It's not much of a flex. I didn't say.
If Brendan said "suck my dick" and your podcast would be famous or be popular, he'd do it. If Brendan said, "Hey, if you suck my dick right now, you're gonna get 100,000 subscribers, and your videos are all gonna get 100,000 views plus," he'd do it. He is so thirsty. He needs to chill. Come on, comedy breath, hot breath, chill, relax. Let's notch it down a bit. Let's notch it down a bit. You probably don't laugh at that when your wife or partner makes a joke. Look how he's giggling. Brendan, stop.
Like Lamborghini or nothing. It's still a truck. I'm a blue collar guy here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, what else you can do? Stop? Quit? No, that's not me. That's never gonna happen.
But have you done anything to try to like suppress this or like get on top of it? Like
suppress? You want to hire the police to what? To take down Too to Try, take down Podcast Cringe, take down Unique, take down me. You want to suppress people now?
Just
what do you? No, there's nothing you can do.
I mean, can you sue people? Have you tried doing any of that?
Oh, here we go. Have you tried to sue people, Brendan? Have you tried to sue people for making fun of your comedy and for laughing at the dumb things that you say, or for highlighting the dumb things that we say? Have you tried to sue people? Let us know. Have you tried to sue people for highlighting or zooming into footage of you allegedly cheating on your wife? Have you done that before? Have you tried to sue people for that? Have you tried to blame other comedians for the fucking Firing the Kid subreddit? Have you tried that? Have you tried?
No, I mean we have a lawsuit with a guy who made like 3,000 videos. Again, if you're gonna critique
3,000 videos, big up Unique. Wherever you are, big up Unique. Big up my guy fucking Unique. Big up the Y. Big up Unique. 3,000 videos.
Stand up or
I wonder how many videos of Brendan I've got on my channel. I should probably do an audit. I wonder how many videos of Brendan I have on my channel. I wonder. If I type Brendan into the search of my channel, I wonder how many I have.
Or my fight picks or my football picks, all good. That's what the internet's for. Now, if you're going to go out there and defamation, like, whatever.
If you're going to go out there and defamation, what does that even mean? Go out there and defamation. If you're going to go out there and defecate, if you're going to go out there and rape, if you're going to go out there and GHB, you go out there and defamation. What?
That's what the internet's for. Now, if you're going to go out there and defamation, like, whatever, Brendan hits his kids or beats his wife, well, then you got my attention. I'm going to come after you.
Oh. No one said that, by the way. He's lying. Nobody has put out anything or made videos about Brendan hitting his kids or abusing his wife. That is insane. What a lie. This guy lies so fucking much. And it's funny too because he's suing Unique. So the lawsuit he's suing Unique for, if you don't know, is because Unique essentially took that live stream clip of him at some Super Bowl sort of fucking live watch party thing, and for whatever reason, Brendan's bad luck. But when they were in when there was an intermission within for the game, there was a drone footage looking into the house that they were streaming from. And from afar, you could see Brendan walking towards a lady that didn't look like his wife and handing her a note. And obviously, Unique saw that clip, highlighted it, and spoke about it on his platform. And Brendan saw that and obviously probably got in trouble at home. And because he got trouble at home, I think he invented this lie about allegedly Unique making up a rumor about him hitting his wife. But the funny thing is, the actual hitting and domestic violence thing had to do with Unique. That's a real part of the law. It was actually Unique that got accused of doing that on the sub. And I guess somebody in Brendan's team told him about that. And then they used that as a excuse to sue Unique, when the real reason why he sued him was because Unique exposed that Brendan may or may not have cheated on his wife. Crazy, isn't it? And now he's most likely going to lose this fucking dumb lawsuit. It brought him way more bad attention than he needs anyway, right? Brendan's already super hated. So imagine going after a small content creator, accusing them of something they didn't do, filing a lawsuit and for defamation, essentially, you know, trying to silence them, right? And their, you know, ability to have freedom of speech and shit. And then it backfiring and having big channels like fucking Moist Critical and stuff, Charlie and whatever else, highlight and talk about you because you're obviously coming after a small creator, and no one likes when small creators get silenced or get fucking bullied, especially when it comes to these sort of lawsuits. So the lawsuit against Unique was a net negative. It kind of brought him more issues than good. What an absolute redact. And now he's trying to lie and make it into another thing. Like, come on, Brendan.
Yeah, that game I don't play. And the guy's suffering from that. So that
the guy's suffering
is
from that as a
whatever.
lie.
But, you know, the internet's always going to internet. There's nothing you can do to combat that. But, you know, I'm in the business of likability. So when I go on the road, I think
the guy saying I'm in the business of likability that is incredibly unlikable is fucking hilarious.
Too, for younger comics or people getting into this, you think that the internet, through all the comments or whatever it is real. It's not real, man.
It definitely is real. In your case, it's definitely real. It's definitely real in your case. And I would hazard the guess that Brendan is one of the rare examples of it. He probably does have way more haters than he does fans, for sure. But he's just been fortunate that he got into podcasting and content creation early, especially with Rogan, so to make all this money and be this successful. But he definitely has way more haters than he has fans. And he's one of the only exceptions I could think of out there. Most people, I think, is the other way around. Most people probably have 90% more fans, 90% fans, 10% haters. He definitely has 90% haters and 10% fans, for sure.
I make a business,
which is why he cancels loads of comedy club gigs and shit.
Likability. I don't know, 10 endorsement deals. That's how I pay my bills. I have 10
endorsements. You mean ads on your podcast? Endorsements. He's acting as if he's fucking LeBron James.
Deals. And this isn't a flex. It's just showing you that,
right?
You know, I'm more loved than I am liked. You know, I go to coffee.
Extra doubt. I honestly think Brendan is probably the only person out there that has that. He definitely has more haters than fans. Why would you cancel a comedy gig in a bar with 50 tables? Where are your fans? Why would you cancel a European tour 2 weeks before you're meant to do it? Where are your fans? Why don't you do theaters? Where are your fans? Why don't you have a lot of gigs on your fucking listings? Where are your fans? Why do you buy views? Where are your fans? He's the only person who I think has that issue. And that's an odd thing, because if it was me and I was him and I saw that, I would be like, why don't people like me? And I'd try and change, but he doesn't.
Shop, I was just with my brother. I can't go anywhere without meeting nice people, man. You know?
I can't go anywhere. He's fucking Bradley Cooper, mate. He's fucking Bieber, right? He's fucking Timothy Chalamet. I can't go anywhere without people stopping me. Shop. Yeah.
Who love what I do. And then also I sell tickets on the road. That's how else I pay my mortgage. You know, so that stuff is real. That's attainable. I see and meet those people. So I think that's what helps me navigate through all the darkness.
Okay, that's a lie. So I want to see the actual fucking thing about I want to see what Unique has to say about it, actually. Let's quickly jump over to Unique, because Unique has responded regarding this whole thing, but I want to see it. So some information here courtesy of the subreddit regarding the lawsuit. Let's see it here. So it says the following on the lawsuit. What does it say here? It says the reader claims he's suing Unique because he said he beats his wife and kids. Says he's suing for defamation when he's really suing for copyright infringement. Exactly. It says Unique sucks, but this lawsuit is hilarious as it continues to go on. Papa also made statements that us homeless cats were murderers, rapists, and child abusers, and there's evil, sinister stuff that goes on here. He said this after Trug Walk went viral, and Unique covered it, which then started the lawsuit. I didn't know that. Okay, cool. That's the other part of it. The funny thing is the video that SCHAUB's referring to as child abuse being posted here was by a cat who was trying to bring attention to why Unique sucks and shouldn't be supported by in any facet. Because he was hitting his kids in the background of a stream for a bit. So it was. Homeless cat, don't support this guy, he sucks, here's why. SCHAUB, there's a child abuser, highly illegal activity going on that subreddit. We've been alerted by someone higher than the feds. A couple of text threads here trying to find nuts of the bolts of the stew. So let's look at the Unique thing. I want to see what Unique had to say about it, because Unique did reply. So let's see what Unique said. Maybe a second while I get Unique's channel up on here. And big up everybody that's streaming, that's here via the stream. I enjoy your presence. Thank you for hanging out with me. Greatly appreciated. I do not take this for granted. So if you do enjoy what you see, what you hear, please make sure you're smashing the like button and letting me know with your likes down below. Okay, let's type in Unique and see what he said here. I'm curious to know what fucking Unique said regarding this whole thing. Let's fucking go. Come on, Unique. Give me something. Give me something. Cool. There we go. Unique talks about SCHAUB here. Let's see what he says. He's an anti-celebrity. That's hilarious. Let's see. Let's see. Come on, load, for goodness sake, you piece of shit, load. Okay, it's coming, it's loading, it's coming, it's coming. We are coming, you are coming. Let's let it load. Come on, sir.
Thoughts on it, but here's this liar, Brendan SCHAUB, as to why he's suing me.
Get it? I have no ill will towards any of those people. I get it. Yeah, you seem to be good at like just focusing on what you could control.
Okay, let's fast forward. Let's see what Unique has to say. We heard this bit already.
Oh, yeah, that comics or people get into this. You think that the internet through all the comments or whatever they tend into a flex is just off shot, So that.
Yeah, fast forward.
Do you ever catch yourself like looking or
fast forward?
Or like their stuff. So
hold on. Let me stop. Let's go there. Let's go here.
Do you even see?
Let's go here.
So that stuff is real. That's attainable. I see and meet those people. So I think that's what helps me navigate through all the darkness. So you do you even see it online? Do you ever catch yourself like looking or scrolling?
No, you post and ghost. You post and ghost.
Now I run all my stuff again. So it's like
BGO this.
You won't see me like going through YouTube comments or going through Instagram comments. I'll post and ghost, but then I'll go on my friends' walls and stuff and say what's up, or like their stuff, so I see what's going on. But for the most part, I post and ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's good or bad, it's not. It's either the good ones like, oh, that's cool. The bad ones, it could ruin your day. Yeah, dude. Because even like.
Okay, so this idiot, first and foremost, he can handle the hate, but yet he can't read any comments and he has to post a ghost.
Exactly.
Get that out of the way. The dude just lies about everything, but. First of all, I like how this dude researched, and obviously he knows Brendan SCHAUB is suing a YouTuber, and weird way to ask.
Come on, Unique. Settle down. He's excited. Settle down, Unique. Get through your thoughts. Come on, bro. Settle down, brother.
He asked it, and so Brendan SCHAUB says, you can critique me. You can make fun of me. But when you defame me and say, I hit my kids and I hit my wife, and that's why he's suing me. First and foremost,
I hit my wife.
I've never said Brendan SCHAUB hits his kids or hits his wife. And second of all,
I hit my wife.
He's not suing me for defamation. He's suing me for copyright, which is a false copyright thing, and he's going to lose that case. But this man is such a liar, and he's so pathetic. He knows he can't just say, well, that guy was making fun of me and he's actually funny, so I have to sue him to try and make him stop making fun of me. He has to come up with some long, drawn-out BS saying that I said he hits his wife and hits his kids. Wow, what an idiot. So much of an idiot, by the way. I'm immediately sending this clip to the court and saying, Your Honor, in his own words, he can't even be honest about why he started this lawsuit. But the judge already knows this. Let's just say sanctions are currently about
Unique is snitching. Unique is out here snitching.
To be paid to me by his legal team as he purposely drags out this lawsuit. We're coming up on 2 years now. But, I mean...
2 years. Can you imagine the amount of money Brendan's wasted on this fucking lawsuit? And again, I don't blame him because I think the lawsuit was more so to save his marriage because that clip was really damning, right? He's in this party handing a note to a woman like, you have to explain it some way. So you, defamation. I mean, that's probably how he explained it to the wife back at home. So I understand why he did it, but surely after a while, you know, she's probably forgotten about it after she bought another fucking Birkin. Just drop the case, bro. Do you know what I mean? It brought him so much bad attention. Like, if he didn't sue Unique, Moist Critical would have never known who he was. But all those big YouTubers made videos about him. People made literal careers off of the back of him doing that fucking... Like, I think even Too Late to Try, those platforms and even whatever, those channels, they started because of the lawsuit. He basically sprung an entire... He basically created an entire micro industry economy around him and laughing at him based on that fucking copyright. That was the real kind of domino effect that kind of led to people kind of dunking him online. It was such a bad move, bro. So dumb.
This is how pathetic Brendan Schaub just truly is. He can't even be honest about why he's suing me. He's claiming defamation. The lawsuit's public. It says for copyright. Find me one piece of evidence where I ever said...
Yeah, exactly. Coiler's right there. Coiler's saying the copyright law in the US is pretty simple. He's an idiot for suing Unique. Exactly. From what I understand, the copyright law in the States is quite simple. So this is a pretty, you know, simple and short case. I'm surprised it hasn't been thrown out or ruled in Unique's favor already by now. I'm surprised they're letting it drag out so long, but I'm assuming, you know, there's some reason to it. Maybe the, you know, wheels of justice moves slow, whatever it may be. But I'm surprised they haven't really concluded this already because it's a pretty open and shut case, to be fair. And it should be ruled in Unique's favor because, you know, Brendan has no grounds to sue him, really.
Brendan Schaub hits his wife and kids. It's so weird. He's just going to lie about everything. He's a sociopath.
Will Unique admit that he hits his kids then or not? Is he going to admit that?
And a pathological liar. That's why any story he tells, I don't believe. That's why I know most of that, you know, he rescued the kids from the car story on the highway. I know most of that isn't true. He was there, but he didn't rescue anyone. He didn't do anything. I know that, and come to find out, and I never even made a video about this, that that dead lady's aunt had reached out to me to say, oh, well, Brendan said he would pay for the funeral, and we haven't heard anything from him. I never even made a video about that, but that woman did hit me up on Twitter about that.
Youch.
And I was like, whatever. I personally, I don't know if he promised to pay your funeral bills. That's what she's claiming, no, but I don't know if that's true. But I never made a video about it. But even that story I know is BS because everything this guy says is an absolute lie. And this is public knowledge. It's a public lawsuit. People can go look it up. It says Thick Boy Productions versus Kyle Swindell's, which is hilarious to me, by the way. That's in the official court documents.
I thought he was going to say his own name is hilarious. Kyle Swindell's is a pretty hilarious name. Where the fuck does Kyle come from? Swindell's. Swindle. What? Kyle the fraudster. Kyle the scammer. Big up Unique.
It's public and it says for copyright, but he keeps claiming defamation. You couldn't sue me for defamation. The dude's a weirdo. The pathetic liar. His career is dead. His channel's dead. Ugh. It's so pathetic.
This is Brendan's biggest op, by the way. Brendan's biggest op is fucking unique. Imagine how fucking crazy is that? Brendan's biggest op is fucking unique. Fucking wild. Anyway, let's go back to the interview. What more to be said? Nothing more to be said about that, really, isn't it? It is what it is. Brendan fucked up. What can you do?
So do you even see it online? Do you ever catch yourself like looking or scrolling?
I think it's
anything?
unavoidable, especially now. I run all my stuff again, so it's like, you won't see.
I run all my stuff again. I never understood why Brendan ever gave his social media account to fucking BGL or to anybody. That's another kind of weird ego thing, isn't it? Like thinking you're big enough of a person that you need somebody else to handle your social media. Like you need like a social media manager. It's so bizarre for somebody. You're not that famous. You're famous in your own little niche, but you're not that famous where you need a handler to look after your fucking social media. It was always a weird move anyway. It was always a weird move. So it's no surprise that he got taken advantage of. BGL leaked stuff and obviously took the piss, whatever it may be. But that was never a smart idea. I never understood why he palmed it off to other people. Just do it yourself, bro. It's not that deep, really. You're not fucking Taylor Swift.
See me like going through YouTube comments or going through Instagram comments. I'll post and go, but then I'll go on my friends' walls and stuff and say what's up, or like their stuff, so I see what's going on. But for the most part, I post and goes because whether it's good or bad, it's not. It's either the good ones like, oh, that's cool. The bad ones, it could ruin your day.
Yeah, dude. Because even like for this show, like when I've been recording on my own, like I'll have to make sure the recorder's going and look at the camera to make sure the camera's going in the middle of the interview. And people will roast me in the comments like, "Stop looking at the camera, Michael Cera." They'll say stuff like that. So even like those little comments, I'm just like, oh, I'm just trying to do something.
Yeah,
here.
I'm trying, man. But now sometimes there might be some sort of better.
Comparing that comment to what Brendan gets is crazy, to be fair. That is fucking crazy. He definitely wants to be a victim. Comparing that little comment people make to the hate that Brendan gets is fucking insane.
Fit from it if they're like, hey man, but it's just about their delivery. If they're like, hey, it's distracting when you do this on the pod, like, okay, that makes sense. I can work on that and stop doing that.
That's a lie. People have told him he interrupts too much. He doesn't stop interrupting. People have told him that he's, he cuts off people too much. He doesn't stop doing that. He lies. He railroads conversations. He doesn't let somebody answer a question. He just keeps talking, right? Like, come on, man. That's a lie. He doesn't receive any constructive criticism well at all.
But like for the longest, I had a problem interrupting. It was just my nature.
You still do. You still do.
Nature, I interrupt people like, man, you interrupt too much. Good.
It's my nature. What? That's not nature. That's you wanting to hear the sound of your own voice too much. It's my nature to interrupt. It's just my nature. I bully people. It's just my nature. I shit on people. It's just my nature. I lie. It's like, come on, bro. Nature.
All right, good note. But when it's and that's why they just don't know the delivery,
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate you talking about that because it's something, as a comedian myself and seeing your career and how quickly everything's happened and just seeing the backlash of everything, I'm just like looking at it as a comedian, like, I mean, it seemed like this is a guy who's just like built his own thing and built
just
his
trying
own
to do my thing. Yeah.
Like,
I don't get it.
So that's,
I don't get it. Brendan, come on, bro. I would love to hear somebody just sit down and say, you're actually quite hateable, and not in a bad way. It just is what it is. But because I think there is a power, there is a benefit in being unlikable and being hateable. Look at people like Logan Paul, the Jake Pauls, even the Tana Mogos, the fucking Trisha Paytases of the world. All these people have things about them that people, like even Ethan Klein, that are hateable, but it doesn't, I guess, define them overall. But I think they're aware of it. I think that's a superpower. You have to be aware of it. Obviously, don't change it too much, but you can't be completely oblivious to why people don't like you and act as if like you're the greatest guy in the world. Because I don't think Ethan Klein doesn't not think he's a piece of shit sometimes and can be obnoxious, pretentious, insufferable. I'm sure he's aware of it. He just doesn't make any effort to change it because it's making him money and it's helping him his career-wise. Brendan has this weird thing in his head where he thinks he's a far better person than what he is, which is odd because I think most of us, myself included, I know I can be a piece of shit. We all know we have parts of us, we have moments, we have tendencies that some people could not like, or things that people could see from us that would make them not like us. We all aware of that. Whereas he thinks he's literally perfect, which is fucking odd, because there's many things of his personality that people wouldn't like, let alone the things that he's done. There's many things that he's done during his career, what we've seen in HD, that he's done that you would make you think, or that would make you not like him. So the fact that he doesn't have any idea or is not aware of it and thinks he's just like a humble blue collar comedian, grafting, driving his purple Porsche, hanging out with his kids in his mansion and shit. Like, that's, you know, like, I'm just a humble guy, man. It's like, bro, come on, man. You've done a lot of things. You said a lot of things that would make people not like you. Like, come on, bro. You must know.
So that's what, even in researching you for this interview, I'm like looking at stuff and I'm just like, I don't know the context for this.
They need a villain, but when you look at, especially in comedy, like, you know Matt Rife at all?
For sure. Yeah,
Matt's a great kid.
Yeah, I've known him
And
since teenager.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. So he's just such a good person. And you look at the hate he's getting. He'll address some of it. You know, he'll talk about it. But people hate success. You know, and I'm not even remotely close to what Matt.
People hate success. Really? That's not true, though. That isn't true. Most people don't have the amount of haters that Brendan does, especially somebody so niche as him. That isn't true in the slightest. I don't think most people hate success. Maybe most people hate his success. Maybe most people hate him and think he's undeserving of his success. But I don't think most people hate success. That's really... That's a strange thing. Strange justification for... And again, maybe it's just me, but if I was him and I was receiving that much feedback from people, I would have to be introspective. I'd have to try to figure out, why don't they like me? Why? What is it about me that gets under their skin? What is a disconnect? Why am I not coming across the way I want to come across? Like, you know, like, why don't they see me the way I see myself? I'd want to ask those questions, but he doesn't.
Matt's doing.
And now I'm talking about Matt Rife. Yeah, cool.
I mean, not even remotely, but you look at Drake. Drake releases an album.
Drake.
It's also not people
comparing yourself to Drake. I guess as a human, you have to cope with it somehow, right? You have to create some sort of defense mechanisms in your head to not listen to the voices or the feedback of why people don't like you, because maybe it'll make you go crazy and start making you cry and shit and breaking down. But comparing your plight to what Drake is going through is ridiculous, especially when you consider that Drake has way more fans than he has haters. And I think Brendan has more haters than fans. So even that comparison is demonstrably dumb. And also, you know, talent-wise, personality, whatever. It's just like, huh? Drake? Matt Rife?
people's fault. Like there's a lot of, you know, the people are going through stuff, and maybe one of their outlets
mental health
is
issues.
to focus on whoever. My thing is, I'm not even that famous, man. There's so much better people to hate on that are going to give you content. I mean, I guess because
no, you trust me. You give us a lot of content, Brendan. Trust me. For somebody as redacted and as, you know, not as famous as you, you are the gift that keeps on giving. That is for sure.
I do so many shows, so like, man, at least we know Monday through Wednesday this guy's gonna release videos we can hate on. Man, there's
be true, yeah.
There's way better podcasters or comics out there to hate on that are gonna give you good material, but I'm not the guy, you know. So, but there's
what
literally nothing. It is what it is, you know. But you see it, you know, with Matt Rife. I'll hear, you know, comics when I'm in the green room make comments about it. I'm like, yeah. You know, he made like $15 million in 2 days selling out his tour for 2 years. Like, you think he gives a flying fuck?
He does give a flying fuck. That's why he's fighting with 6-year-olds. That's the main issue. That's the crux of the issue, really. You're making all this money, you're this successful, and you care about these comments. Why? Because they do get to some level of truth. They are talking about some things that maybe you're a bit insecure about. Same with Brendan. It's like, instead of just changing those things so you can live a better life, let's just justify it and talk about money and shit. But then you're obviously here commenting and stuff, suing YouTubers and whatever. Yeah, you don't care. It doesn't get to you. You're not bothered. Sure. Post and ghost. Audio is king.
You guys should be celebrating this.
Yeah.
You guys should be like, holy shit, that's attainable. Oh wow, and he's only been doing it how long? You know, it's like, man, take inspiration from that. And the reason your mindset of bringing, because these are.
I love how he's saying that now. I love how he's saying that now.
Destroy than to create. That's why they do it. It's a sheep mentality. Destroy than to create.
It's a sheet. Is this trying to say sheep or sheet?
Destroy than to create. That's why they do it. It's a sheep mentality.
How can you not pronounce sheep? It's a sheet mentality. Okay.
Destroy than to create. Creating's fucking tough. Even if you do it and it doesn't go.
What do you actually create though? No word of a lie. What does Brendan actually create? The backdrop he doesn't make or put, you know, his hands to. He doesn't set up the mics. He doesn't design the thumbnails. Doesn't write the headers, the banners, the fucking tags. Doesn't cut the clips. Doesn't edit the videos. All he does is just talk in front of the microphone. He does none of that stuff. So all this create stuff is nonsense. You turn up, Chin does all the work, and you go home. Create.
Over well, all good. At least you're taking a swing. Those people that are doing this stuff, bringing down Matt Rife or Drake or me or whoever, they're not.
Matt Rife, Drake, or me or whoever. Brendan, bro, the ego is insane.
Taking any swings. Think about that. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, they're just reacting to people creating.
Yeah, you're reacting to my creativity.
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you? Yeah. So when you have that in your mind, do you?
That is a weird thing to justify the levels of hate you get. If anything, again, like I said, if it was me, I'd be introspective. If I saw entire channels being propped up by, you know, the mistakes and dumb things that I say, people making entire livings off of just the dumb things I do and say, I would legitimately try to take a long, hard look in the mirror at myself and what I'm doing wrong. Legit. If I'm having people, you know, fund their entire lives off of the dumb things I say, there's something wrong there. Especially if I don't think I'm dumb. If I think I'm super smart, super funny, super this, super that, I'd be like, what's going on here? Where's the disconnect? Why don't they see me the way I see myself? But this redact doesn't see that. It's all just they're haters. It's like, okay, I guess so, man. I guess they're all haters. I guess they only do it because they're not taking swings. And most of it is, I don't even think they're swing thing. It's just, I think there's definitely a portion of people out there who just look at this guy and think, this is just unbelievable that this is somebody like this exists. This lacking in self-awareness, especially when you think of the people that exist on social media or on reality TV shows. He is a reality TV show that keeps on giving. A free one. Non-stop drama, non-stop issues. Because he just refuses to like have any sort of, you know, self-awareness, introspection, understanding, whatever. It's just all over the place. He just goes, really. He just fucking goes, as he says.
You create with like more hesitation now,
Never,
or it's just
never.
You're
I'm
just,
not the guy. I was built for it.
Yeah,
no, never.
And I know when you were in MMA, you had like.
That's why he said, "This stuff gets to me. It's not nice." Right, I'm built for it. Right, that's why you're suing people. Yeah, sure. That's why you have to have a strict post and ghost methodology behind your social media. You speak up, Assad. I appreciate you.
I think this man legit lacks a soul. He feels if you make money or feeling don't matter, and we should take inspiration from that. The way he thinks.
Yeah, exactly. That's the really sad thing about it. That there is a lacking of a. That's the thing. It's the soul. It's the humanity. It's a weirdness. It's just a strange world to live in where everything is okay once you make money. If you don't make money, you're irrelevant. If you don't sell tickets, you're irrelevant. If you're not rich, you're irrelevant. Like, it's like, do you remember that? I don't know if you remember seeing it, Assad, but there was a post somebody made on the Friday Night Kids subreddit ages ago of somebody asking Brendan's wife a question about something. And I think it was like a response to a hater. And Brendan Schaub's wife said something like, oh, they're not hot. They're not in good shape. They don't have money and cars. So it was some sort of weird statement like that. But it sounded very Brendan Schaubish. And it kind of illustrated their level, what they place importance in, right? Like being, you know, buff, I guess, having money and driving incredible cars. That's to them is like a value in a person. If you don't have those things, you don't have value. And if you're hating on people and you don't have those things, it means that you want those things and you're jealous. I don't know. It was some weird backwards, way to rationalize the levels of hate they get and shit, which is, again, more so because they're just garbage humans as opposed to the money and shit they make. But hey, what can you do?
Mindset coaches,
Yep.
and things like that. So, like, what did you learn?
Since I was a kid, it was like this, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, since I was a kid. I mean, even playing football at a young age, playing football at a high level, it's just, it just comes with the territory. You can't please everybody.
So what do you do to stay, I guess, just like Teflon? Like, is it self-talk? What do you have any like techniques?
Work.
Yeah.
Just keep working.
Mhm.
Keep working. And the proof's in the pudding. It's like, if I go up to Laugh Factory tonight, if nobody laughed, if I bombed every night, then I'd be like, oh man, maybe these critical people, these critics are right. But it's just not real. It's not.
Do you have to bomb every night for you to think you're shit at comedy? That's the main litmus test. Not, am I making myself laugh? Am I having fun? Something I want to do? I have a point of view. I have something to share with the world. No. If they laugh, then I keep. It's like, and also the barrier of entry. We've seen what people laugh at. Like, Papa.
Not real. But again, it's not their fault, because the way social media and YouTube works, like the algorithm works, it entices, it encourages hate.
Yeah.
You're going to get more likes and more feedback when you hate, instead of like on this podcast, I mean, that was great, like thumbs up. That might get 1 like. But if they make fun of, whatever, the way you dress or your hair, or, 2 white dudes or whatever, that's going to get more of a conversation. So that's a algorithm problem. That's something that Elon Musk and
I love how he's saying this when he's the person that also gets involved in the drama. Also, he uses the drama to give him views. He makes up rumors about fucking, what's his name? Did he make up a rumor about fucking George St. Pierre? Like, you're acting as if like he's a pure soul in this. You play the same game. You do even worse. You create rumors out of thin air for engagement and clicks and views, and to go people into a response and shit. Like, this guy is the most deplorable, and here he is trying to grandstand and posture and shit. It's like, come on, man.
Mark Zuckerberg need to work on. I can't control that, so I don't worry about it. I can't do nothing about it. So I get it too.
Big up Drone Adventures. Appreciate you, brother. I might have to put some money on it. Now you're gassing me up. Now you're gassing up my UFC picks, Drone Adventures. I might have to put some money on it. Don't gas me up, man. Don't turn me into a fucking gambling addict. Don't turn me into a degenerate, okay? I don't need much encouragement. I'm already that way inclined. Don't push me that direction.
Too. If this is what's getting you attention, it's like having a kid. If he does this and he knows he gets attention, he's going to keep doing it. But if you don't give that attention, he's like, all right, that's not the angle. Let me switch up the gears here. So they got to switch, once these big, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube stop kind of promoting that, people are going to switch their gears. But
gears.
Beautiful. Well, as we land this plane here,
he got bored. Beautiful. The host got bored.
A question I ask every comedian on here is their worst like bombing experience, if they've ever been booed, if like a crazy heckler, just something in their career that they just...
Do you remember when Brendan used to say he doesn't bomb? Do you remember that? I want to find that clip. Brendan says he doesn't bomb. Do you remember? Let's see if I can find it before we finish. There's a clip of Brendan saying he does not bomb. Bear with me a second. Bear with me a second. Bear with me. Brendan Schaub does not bomb. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. Hope it's getting a search. Oh, it's actually my video. Shit. It's actually my video. Okay, cool. Let's see if I can skip forward this one. It's actually a video for me from a year ago. Funny. How fucking hilarious. So let's see this. Bear with me a second while I let it load. I'm not going to listen to myself speak. Don't worry. We're just going to go to a bit where Brendan speaks about not bombing and not believing in bombing. It's fucking hilarious.
This clip is courtesy of the Frighten the Kids sub-video, I think.
Look at my voice, bro. I think that was when I was using that mic. Big up AO. Tell us a joke. I don't have any jokes, bro. Tell us a joke. Black Lives Matter. That's my joke. Where's other? Let's find the clip of Brendan saying he doesn't believe in bombing. Bear with me a second here. I'm trying to scan through. Oh, there it is. It's here. Yeah, I found it. I found it. It's around here. Boom. Let's switch over. Bear with me a second as it loads. Let's press play. Hopefully it lands. Bear with me a second, if you don't mind. Let's fucking go. Come on, son. Work, you piece of shit. Cool.
During the pandemic? No, I don't think it was actually. Maybe it was during the pandemic. I forgot. Weird flex. It's like,
oh, why must I keep talking?
A lot of young comics.
Yeah, there you go. Here. There you go.
Bombs so bad.
Yeah, there you go. Listen.
What market you're in, is it different? Yeah, but in general, I have a good idea how it's going to go tonight. You ever bombed so bad? Listen, Louis C.K., who's one of the greatest comics to ever do it, he always had this thing, and I think a lot of young comics took this on. He goes, you got to bomb 10,000 times before you get good. Dude, listen, if you've ever sucked at anything 10,000 times before you got good at it, it might not be for you. It's just not for you, man. You lose 10,000 fights and then you win one. You're like, oh, there we go. Now I'm
so dense. He's so dense.
So yeah, I haven't to the point where it's like crickets or I'm getting booed. I've missed some jokes and been able to dug myself out, but as far as like a complete bomb, people walking out of the room, I haven't, man. Just because.
Can you imagine that? He hasn't bombed. He doesn't believe in bombing. It's not a thing. Lucy K doesn't know what he's talking about. Can you imagine the ego on someone to say that to somebody? Lucy K, I know he's a famous guy. He got all these accolades, super great specials, well regarded, industry fucking legend. One of the greatest comedians of all time. Nah. Yeah, exactly, Space Guy. Exactly. Do you remember? Yeah, the old chat. Yeah, exactly. I can't even do it now because my computer doesn't let me do that shit anymore. But it's annoying. But hey, this chat box, at least it's still here to view. But yeah, big up the old chat. Big up the fucking old chat. Exactly, Darksy. That is pure narcissism. That's fucking. Imagine saying that what Lucy K said wasn't true. What you said is. It's like, what? Fucking hell. Anyway, go back to the clip and finish this before I end.
And like I said, we're coming up.
Oops, not that one. Wrong one. Go back to the interview. Where is it? There you go.
We'll never forget.
It's a good question.
And you can chew on it for a minute.
Nah, I'm trying to think. All of them have been learning lessons. Like, I had one at the Improv. I was on back-to-back shows. I was on the 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock show, the 8 o'clock show. For whatever reason, and some comics did great, it was the worst bomb I ever had. And I was like 3 years into it. I'm like, oh my, it was so bad. You can feel the sweat down your back. You're like, oh, this is the worst feeling in the fucking, I want to die. And there were some great comics on there, so they saw the bomb. And I'm parked out front of the Improv, so I'm sitting in my car just like, oh man. I was trying to think of an excuse not to do the 10 o'clock. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And Chris D'Elia walks by. This is like 9 years ago. And he's like, what are you doing? It was like 5 minutes before the show. I'm like, I'm trying to think of an excuse. Like, maybe I'll tell him I'm sick or whatever. And I'm just sitting there with my head in my hands like this. And then Chris knocks in and he goes, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, dude, I ate shit that last show. I don't want to go back in there. He goes, no, you're going back. This is what we do. This is what we do.
Yeah.
No, hell no. He's like, this is what we do, man. You threw an interception, get back out there. I'm like, oh, you're right. And I got back out there. I've also learned, I think before, when I was first starting, I'd look at the lineup and see where they put me, and I'd be like, oh, man, that guy's a killer. This is going to be so tough after. I do not care now. I think whoever it is, like, you can ride the wave. And also, it restarts every comic. Like, you don't have to worry about that guy. You want him to crush him. If he bombs, you have to dig it out of a hole. The crowd's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So
I love how he just sounds like Rogan when he speaks about this. It's just stuff like Rogan says. He just repeats ad nauseum and just uses his own personality. He doesn't believe all this shit. Stuff like Rogan always says. You want to go in front of killers, people that kill Iron Sharpers. Like, you don't believe this stuff. You don't.
I'm not worried about that anymore. I think that just comes with experience. Like I literally, I'll just ask, hey, when give me a time. I used to ask, all right, who's up before, who's up after. Now it's like, what time? Because I don't worry about that. It doesn't. That's a weird mentality to have. Like, it doesn't matter if that guy crush, you can crush. It doesn't take away. There's not just a finite number of laughs in the crowd. It doesn't matter. Do your thing.
So that show was after you had released your special as well. So you'd release Showtime special, and then you're at the Improv in front of all these famous comics. And
it's tough one, man. Tough one, dude. Chris, like, what the hell are you doing? I was like trying to figure out how to get out of here.
Yeah, that's why I was asked that question, because
Anyway, Blockbuster, I'm gonna end it there. Hot breath comedy. He needs to just focus on his own content. Just make the show you want to make, mate. If you end up ever watching this, make the show you want to make. Whether it's Johnny Carson, whatever you want to do, however ridiculous that is, but you know, we all have dreams and goals. Go out there and try and make it happen. Just create that show. Take the money that you would be spending on flights to go visit these dumbass comedians and put it into your own content. Believe in what you're doing. Highlight and platform some up and coming people that need the exposure. Not Brendan. He doesn't need your platform. It's not going to add anything to your platform. Go out there and find new people, discover them, create a safe haven for them to promote and talk about themselves and whatnot. Signal boost them. Do all that good stuff, and maybe from then your show could become successful. It gets legs of its own and it goes a different way. But concentrate on just making the show that you would love to see yourself. Then everything else will follow suit. You don't need to get advice from these guys who essentially quote unquote cheated and gamed the system by having one of the most famous people in the world be their best friends, who also has one of the best podcasts and famous podcasts in the world. That obviously helped him where they get to. So all the advice they're giving you is null and mute. It doesn't count. Focus on yourself, do your own thing. Fuck these guys. It's a fucking waste of time. Personally, that's what I would do if I was hot breath comedy. What's some of the comments saying here? No, he's the best. He's the best person to hate because he constantly gives you stuff to hate on pretty much every day. He's perfect. Is this guy trolling him? He must know people feel about how people feel about Pepper. Another one says, I feel bad. I heckled Shaw at the punchline 3 weeks into comedy journey, and I was too drunk and I was already in a wheelchair. He didn't beat me up. I've also roasted Joel on the podcast, but I wasn't being mean. I just trying to add some more funny to the show. Comedy has changed my life for the better, and I haven't made a dime from it, so I want everyone to respect the game like you guys win. Don't read comments, lols. Shaub is dope. He let me open for him in Spokane after just 10 minutes of hanging out. Truly a kind person. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. But yeah, I don't know. This guy should just focus on his own content. Fuck the stand-up comedians and shit. One of people saying here, you create a channel to help comics, then suck off on a fake comedian. What the fuck? This guy lies constantly. Don't waste your time. Don't read comments. Terrible person. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway, what can you do? So, that is the end of the random show. Thank you so much for tuning in, people. I have to love you and leave you. I'm off to the fucking gymnasium. Thank you for hanging out with me. Random show. Thank you for hanging out with me. This has been a random show, episode number 175. Big up everybody in stream chat that's been hanging out. If you're still watching the show and you're still here, please make sure you like the stream. I'm going to be back in a few hours, so I'll cover the other interviews I meant to cover on the pod. So if you want to hear me cover the interview with Adversity Kings and also the Adam 22 interview, please come back in a few hours and I'll be back here streaming again. So I'll be back here probably in a few hours after I come back from the gym. We'll do that live stream again, but for now I have to love you and leave you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. Never a chore, always a fucking pleasure. Thank you for chilling. It's been fucking amazing. Big up Space Kai, Don Dada, I see you. Thank you for hanging out. Micah Mills, big up. Jared Mellerick, my guy, what's good? Drone Adventures, thank you for hanging out. AT Sphere, thank you for hanging out. Thief Keith, Ridden Aces, Screwface, big up you. Big up you, Screw Faces, what's good? Darksy the Flow, my guy, big up, big up, big up. Who else was in here? Asadas, big up you as well. A few other people too. You know who you are. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate all of you. And I'll see you guys again in a few hours for the other shows I meant to do on the topics, right? So peace out. Thank you, people, for hanging out. I'll see you soon. Take care, people. Take fucking care.